Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Exposing Powerful Lies. We are here with a very special guest, our homie, the Bazed Lit Analyzer. This has been a long time since we had him on, so let's just bring him right on. We're not going to do the intro shenanigans. What's up, Henley? What's up, dude? Welcome.
What's up, big dog? What's up, man?
Yo,
So
thank
glad to
you.
be here again. Yeah, so happy to be here with you again. It's been a while since I've been here with you, bud,
Yeah, how
and I'm
long's it
very
been,
happy.
dude? Like a fucking year?
I think it's been a year. I was kind of scrolling through the archives the other day, and we had a bunch of stuff. But I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's been about a year. But it hadn't been a year since I've seen you.
Yep,
Of
yeah,
course,
for real.
that was in real life. So
I was thinking about
yeah,
it today. I'm like, dude, I got my start in this whole thing with you. I mean, you were like one of the first homies that I made on the internet, in this whole Orthodox Christian sphere. And then you got your YouTube start with me. I was there right when you started the channel. So we both got our start together. So you are definitely the brother channel of Exposing Powerful Lies. So
you
don't
know,
matter how
and
long it's been, you're always welcome.
well, I got to give you some props here because everybody knows, all the old heads know that our friend, for instance, Rachel Wilson, right?
Mm,
Rachel for picture, the based homeschool mama. Where did
mm.
she get her premiere and her start? It was at Exposing Powerful Lies. Of course,
That's right.
everybody knows that. And
Everybody knows that.
we did
It's
start at,
enforced actually by the Banhammer here. They have to call her Rachel from Exposing Powerful Lies or they get banned. So
I call her based mama.
yeah.
And by the way, it was her birthday the other day, so happy
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
birthday to her.
Birthday shouts
Uh,
out.
but also, our friend Andrew Wilson. I mean, he started kind of around when we did, right? The
Absolutely.
Crucible went
His
live.
all of his successes due to me, dude.
Of
Entirely.
course. Well, that's what everyone says, and that's of course that's the truth. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we've
So
definitely made a lot of good friends over the years, and it's crazy how fast time flies, dude. It's been like 5 or 6 years since we've
yeah.
been doing this, and it's really crazy. I was
Hey,
going. You ever see like you watch like an old video, like maybe an old J stream or something, and then you see a comment that you made like 5 years ago, and you're like, I don't remember saying this. It doesn't sound like something I would say, and it's like you realize, oh, 99% of our life we just will never remember.
yeah, it was mainly emojis, it was wave emojis. And it was me, the good old days, it was me, you, Jeff, Block
Tamara,
Party. That's right,
Tamara.
Tamara. Who else was in there? Let's see, Mick. Of course,
Yep,
Mick was in there.
yep.
Maddie was in there. Do you remember? Of course, real. There was Maddie, real Cooter Brown.
Slow
But do you
boy.
remember Slow Boy? Do you remember Orson? Remember him,
Yes.
Orson
Yep.
Welles,
Yep.
uh, Ratsky,
Mhm.
um, a bunch of the old
Dude, I
heads,
got a
right?
message. I got a message. Rat Splat again, dude. I haven't talked to him in forever. Same with Block Party. Where's Block Party been at, dude? My goodness.
He's around.
I saw Tamara the other day, dude. She's a mod for this channel that one of my family members watches. They're just sitting there
Really?
watching it. Yeah, they're watching her this channel on YouTube, and I see like the chat scrolling, and I'm like, "There's Tamara. She's a mod for this freaking channel. What?" And it's
Yeah,
like this like Protestant like conspiracy theory channel. I'm like,
yeah.
that is such a Tamara freaking channel,
Tamara
dude.
Hathaway was it Philippians?
Philippians 4-3,
That's right.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
she was awesome, dude. She was a number one Point Break fan.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome
Mm-hmm.
lady, very generous. So shouts out to her from the
Oh
old
yeah,
days. Yeah,
for
she
sure,
was
for
great.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I took your directions seriously and with fidelity. I did
mm,
not read this beforehand. This is a
yep.
cold read for us, so I'm looking forward to it, man. George R. Martin.
Yeah. So just to explain sort of what this is, so this stream is kind of like a new format that I've been wanting to do for a while as far as the chill streams go. For anybody who's new here, we do a lot of radio chill streams. We do sort of late night hangout, live streams where it's just we're just hanging in the chat. All of us here are all old friends, and a lot of times I'll play old radio shows or we'll watch movies or old TV shows, Twilight Zone type stuff. And I've been wanting to do a thing where instead of listening to the stories, we read the stories, different short stories, whatever, horror, sci-fi. And for some reason, Sandkings was always coming up in my mind to do for the first time we do this. I only read it one time, and it was 13 years ago. My uncle got me this like giant, thick hardcover book of weird fiction. I think that's what the book was called, Weird Fiction, and it was a collection of short stories that were in the same vein as like H.P. Lovecraft type stuff. Bunch of different authors. I think there's like
You
150.
are the Lovecraft expert. I'll give you
Right.
that for sure. Yeah, that's confirmed.
Right, and that's why he got me that book because he knew I was all about it. And so I had never read anything by George Martin. Never watched the Game of Thrones. Was totally sort of out of the loop. For any of the old school EPL viewers, when we did the Tolkien episode, I went sort of in depth about how I view Martin and how I'm not a big fan of George Martin. I don't like the sort of like sexual degenerate stuff he puts into the fantasy. I'm much more partial to Tolkien and stuff.
Yeah.
But so when I saw that he had a short story in this book, I was like, okay, well, I got to check it out. I mean, I want to hear his horror. I'm not interested in reading his fantasy, but maybe his horror is good. And I read Sandkings. Now this is 13 years ago, and I like loved it. I thought it was like one of the coolest stories ever. Now it's been a long time since then. I view the world a lot differently, and so when I decided to do this stream, I actually went to ChatGPT and I go, "Yo, I hate George Martin because he's a prevert. Does Sandkings have any sexual prevert shit in it?" You know what I mean? And it's like, no, actually, it doesn't. But you're right to be hesitant because of he's highly criticized for his themes of pedophilia and sexual degeneration. I'm like, what? Now I like him even less. Like, I didn't even know that was in there.
It's coarse and it gets everywhere, but it does. I mean, it's Sandkings, and it's either about Yakub or the Tuscan Raiders, right? Or about sandworms. That he couldn't take that one. That was our
Yeah, it's the Beetlejuice sandworms.
What's the deal with the RR? First of all, what's the RR stand for? Second of all, the
how about J.R.R. Tolkien, dude? Like, how weird is that?
Yeah, that was a branding thing for him. What about the weird, like the captain's cap? Right, it's a little Hubbard-esque.
Yeah,
I don't know really anything about that dude, but he does come off.
He looks like he should be on a yacht listening to yacht rock with a big cigar in his mouth with like two bikini girls next to him at all times. That's what George R.R. Martin looks like he should be doing.
He's like, hey, you'll dress me up as Triton and I'll kiss you on your bald head. I'll shave you on your head. I'm a pervert.
So it's been a very long time since I've read this, but I did ask ChatGPT to make sure there wasn't any gross stuff in it, and I think you'll dig the story. I don't want to spoil it for the audience. So basically, the way I wanted to do this was have I'll pull up the story so the audience can read along. I will read the narration, the bulk of it, and then whenever we get to dialogue, if you want to take that, you read that, just to keep us both engaged. Now, do you have it pulled up in a separate tab that you're able to read along? I will have it on the screen here, but it's probably going to be a little difficult.
No, because I'm a boomer, but I'll pull it up now. And also, I'm drinking my Geeky Gackers here.
Oh, hell yeah.
My nuclear splat. And I got to say this, too. Also, this is going to be my first time putting on reading glasses.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a shot here and try not to get vertigo. But I went to the eye. This is not interesting, but I went to the eye doctor, and it's confirmed. It's on the paperwork. I have 20/20 vision. Nice. But because I'm old, my eyeballs have distorted, and I need reading glasses. Apparently, probably because of this.
Right.
So,
you know what's really good for your eyesight is that Alex Jones methylene blue, dude. That'll get your eyesight right up, dude. I've been on that methylene blue action, that blue meth, dude. I'm taking it for work, and it just jacks you right up, dude. Jethro knows what's up.
Well, real patriots know that methylene blue from InfoWars, of course, is the best. That is the best product. Yeah. And, of course, I would only trust Alex Jones with my methylene blue. Absolutely. I heard it's good for eyesight. I heard it's good for if you're going to go boar hunting, something like that. And I'm not being facetious. I'm being sincere. And I need to get some right away at the store. So, right. Charlie, stay clean.
Use promo code exposing powerful lies, please. No, but yeah, so we're gonna
that.
Yeah, absolutely. The doctor said you have 20/20 vision because you were on C19 rant the whole of yeah.
Well, I did cheat a little because my fiance went before me and I memorized the script, the lines. So because I saw Donald Sutherland do that in the movie Space Cowboys. That's a pretty deep reference. Oh, yeah. So I kind of pulled that one out of the pocket. But I could see him, though, so it didn't matter. But I can't read up close anymore because I'm old, I guess.
Yeah, dude, my eyesight's been going bad, too, honestly. Like, I've been noticing it's been declining somewhat, So once I started taking the methylene blue, I'm hoping that's going to help. But
it's the blue light.
Dude, it's going to be pretty soon. I'm going to need reading glasses myself, for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be the blue light. It's got to be the phones and the screens and shit.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. I stare at screens far too much, and It's definitely not good. I actually really enjoy reading, just out loud, reading to people. Like I used to read at night to my ex when we were together. I read her the entirety of the Lord of the Rings. Like we would just read a book every night, and I just enjoy reading it out loud. I love storytelling in general. It's part of why I do the radio shows, just because I love stories, you know. And so I wanted to do more streams like this. I got a bunch of different short stories that we were able to read that I'm going to be doing streams, in the future doing this. But when we were talking this morning, it made me realize, like, oh, dude, we got to get BLA on for this. This would be like, you're the perfect guest for the first, story stream, story chill stream. So yeah, so I'm gonna pull up the story to get started. Just let me know when you got it up on your end, because I imagine this is gonna be too small for you to just read off of this.
I'm emailing it to myself right now in a fax.
Yo, can I shout? You just said your fiance, so we gotta shouts out, dude. Come on now, our boy's getting married, dude. That is crazy, bro. That is crazy.
Yeah, dude. And I gotta say that I appreciate. There is a core group of homeboys here that I really appreciate that I got to give a shout out to. So shouts out to Jethro, to you, of course, to Mick and to Maddie, who, you guys have been real ones for a long time with me. And it's crazy the world we live in that, we pretty much all met like 5-something years ago, like you were saying, on the internet.
Yep.
We've met in real life. I've met Jethro in real life.
Yep.
But like, I talk to you guys way more than, my old friends, like from, like infancy.
Same.
And it's crazy. I mean, this stuff really did bring us together. So I really appreciate that. And I love you guys. And so,
absolutely. Yeah. It changed my life for sure. And I mean, not to mention like the fact of bringing me into the church and all of that, but just like you said, the core group of friends that we've made over the years, I can't, express enough my gratitude for the internet, for this little group.
Like there were like 2 or 3 years there, especially where I don't think like 5 minutes went by where Jethro and I weren't talking. Right. I mean, all through the 2020 shenanigans, and you and Mick, and Maddie, of course, has been a very good friend to me also. So I will see you guys IRL at a secret location very soon.
Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So I just wanted to shout that out and have the audience cheer and hoop and holler. And then also, before we get started, also please pray for our friend Slowboy Whiteboard and her husband. They're dealing with some health stuff, and so I just want to remind you guys, keep them on your prayers for show. Yeah, it's rough, dude, for sure.
I'm sorry, Crystalline. Yeah. Definitely, Crystalline, we love you, and you are the boss of all this stuff. You're ubiquitous, and we love you. And yes, thank you for the kind words about my upcoming marriage. I won't say much more, but I will say that God is so good, and things can change so fast, and He has so much grace. And I it's weird how life, if you don't stop and look around, life can pass you by or whatever.
Right. Yeah, for sure. All right,
you just one of these guys in their metal coffins inching along on the highway. They don't understand what it takes to be in touch with with your nature. Well, you're not going to start chanting, are you? I don't know. Maybe. What movie is that?
I honestly have no idea. I didn't catch that reference at all. What was that?
Some people, they're just they only live to get radical. Some people.
Is that Point Break?
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. I should have picked that up on the first one, but I've only seen it twice, and it was after your show. It was after your show. I had never seen it before, so I went and pirated it so I could watch it, and that is like one of the coolest movies, dude, for real.
Scooby, you seen a little dog, Scooby? No, man.
It's so ridiculous, dude. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, go back to the valley, man. All right, I got it pulled up.
All right, sweet. What up, Clontarf? All right, so before we get started, shouts out to all the homies in the chat. Shouts out to everybody watching this after the stream's done going live. All the lurkers, all the homeboys and homegirls. Clontarf, Slowboy, Mixky, Daniel, Jason, Moldy, Ghost, all y'all. Shouts out to you. Guys, if you like the show, please support the show by liking, sharing, commenting, hanging out in the live chat. You can also send in super chats via Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. All super chats will be read live. Mods, you can post Hendo's links in the chat as well if anybody wants to support our homie Hendo. He is the Bazed Lit Analyzer. Go follow him on YouTube and Instagram.
Please send this guy some money so he can get a ticket and come down to my wedding. Please help him. Like, please buy him. Please get him the ticket.
Yes,
he needs
I'll be posting a GoFundMe soon. It'll be a $10,000 GoFundMe because I can't just take the Greyhound. I got to take the super luxurious Amtrak, get a super luxurious hotel, and super luxurious food. So $10,000 GoFundMe will be up soon.
I'm Joe Biden.
I'm once again asking for your financial support. Definitely, that is something that we're also working towards. I just checked this morning, dude. It's gonna be it's only like $200 round trip to get down there and back, which is pretty cheap, all things considered.
That seems like a lot, because
it's $100 a ticket. It's not that bad, dude.
I'm thinking in like 2004 money, I guess.
Yeah,
but now it's pretty cheap because McDonald's costs $2 trillion.
Dude,
so,
Amtrak is like $230 for one way, and then if you buy a Greyhound ticket today, it's like $193. But if you buy it 2 months in advance, it's like $99.
It's like $100 on that Chinese Express from Richmond to New York, which is I can't talk about what that is here, but it is obvious when you get on the bus what it is.
Right.
Okay, yeah, the Amtrak train. I used to ride that to New York and back.
Yeah,
and it really is. I don't know what to say about it. But if you were a person with let's say a different intent, and you wanted to go to New York, it seems like so obvious that you would just get on the Amtrak and you'd be fine.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a totally different ball game than the airport, obviously.
Yeah,
totally different.
You've got anything, get on this train.
Bro, that's how, when I was traveling back in the day when I was hopping trains, sometimes we would take a megabus to places if the trains didn't go there, and there is no security at all. And I remember sitting on the megabus like, dude, if I was a drug trafficker, this is what I'd be doing. It was like, you could get a bus ticket for $1 for megabus back when I was doing it. So if I wanted to go from Buffalo to, Chicago, I could get it for $1 if you ordered it a month or two in advance. They don't do that anymore, but it was just crazy. I mean, you literally just get on and get off, and that's it. No bag check, no searching, nothing. I'm like, damn, dude, I got to get into a different line of work here, dude.
Yeah, if you want to go on a 6-hour trip and just smoke cigarettes anywhere, and you can just throw someone off the train, anything, Amtrak is for you.
Marilyn, you need to find out where your priorities lie, all right? Because I don't want to hear about who else is on. All right, this is exposing powerful lies, and if you don't like it, then go hang out with Jim Pop, dude. Go hang out with Jim Pop. I'll be bitter about it.
And say shouts out to James Bob, and then come back here.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's all good. I mean, it is what it is. We got a lot of homies that stream, and you got to stream when you can stream, and nobody minds, nobody cares. We're all homies. So let's get right into this. So, like I said, I don't want to go too much into spoiler territory. Just know this is a sci-fi horror weird fiction novella by George Martin, the author of Game of Thrones. And we're just going to start it off here. Thank you all so much for being here. And if you guys have any comments or any thoughts or whatever, feel free to super chat. And then also Hendo, at any time we can stop and sort of comment on whatever's going on. Okay. So
we can do like a live takes and analysis.
Absolutely.
As we go through. Nice.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. Sandkings. Simon Kress lived alone in a sprawling manor house among the dry, rocky hills 50 kilometers from the city. So when he was called away unexpectedly on business, he had no neighbors he could conveniently impose on to take his pets. The carrion hawk was no problem. It roosted in the unused belfry and customarily fed itself anyway. The shambler cress simply shooed outside and left to fend for itself. The little monster would gorge on slugs and birds and rock jocks. But the fish tank, stocked with genuine earth piranha, posed a difficulty. Kress finally just threw a haunch of beef into the huge tank. The piranha could always eat each other if he were detained longer than expected. They'd done it before. It amused him. Unfortunately, he was detained much longer than expected this time. When he finally returned, all the fish were dead. So was the carrion hawk. The shambler had climbed up to the belfry and eaten it. Simon Kress was vexed. The next day, he flew his skimmer to Asgard, a journey of some 200 kilometers. Asgard was Baldur's largest city and boasted the oldest and largest starport as well. Cress liked to impress his friends with animals that were unusual, entertaining, and expensive. Asgard was the place to buy them. This time, though, he had poor luck. Xenopets had closed its doors. Teetherain, the pet seller, tried to foist another carrion hawk off on him, and Strange Waters offered nothing more than exotic piranha, glow sharks, and spider squids. Cress had all of those. He wanted something new. Near dusk, he found himself walking down the Rainbow Boulevard, looking for places he had not patronized before. So close to the starport, the street was lined by importers' marts. The big corporate emporiums had impressive long windows where rare and costly alien artifacts reposed on felt cushions against dark drapes that made the interiors of the stores a mystery. Between them were the junk shops, narrow, nasty little places, whose display areas were crammed with all manner of off-world bric-a-brac. Cress tried both kinds of shops, with equal dissatisfaction. Then he came across a store that was different. It was quite close to the port. Cress had never been there before. The shop occupied a small, single-story building of moderate size, set between a euphoria bar and a temple brothel of the Secret Sisterhood. Down this far, the Rainbow Boulevard grew tacky. The shop itself was unusual, arresting. The windows were full of mist, now a pale red, now the gray of true fog, now sparkling and golden. The mist swirled and eddied and glowed faintly from within. Cress glimpsed objects in the window, machines, pieces of art, other things he could not recognize, but he could not get a good look at any of them. The mist flowed sensuously around them, displaying a bit of first one thing and then another, then cloaking all. It was intriguing. As he watched, the mist began to form letters, one word at a time. Cress stood and read. You want to take this one?
Yeah, woe and shade. Is it W-O? W-O and shade importers. Artifacts, art, life forms, and miscellaneous.
The letters stopped.
Can we stop there for a second? I mean,
absolutely.
Because this is a cold read for me. And I got to say that it really is sort of totally immersive. You know, it's a really great opening paragraph for a 15-page short story, which reminds me just in terms of the length of The Most Dangerous Game.
Yep.
And the setting here really reminds me of Philip K. Dick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Because the whole thing in that is that like owning an animal indicates like that's it's rare to find a real animal or even a bug.
And also just the futuristic corporatism, the whole idea of like neon signs in this futuristic alien city, right? Very Blade Runner.
Yeah, and it actually starts off gothic, right?
Yeah.
With Belfry and there's mist and the
and Asgard has got like Nordic pagan Asgard and
so
Baldur.
One thing about this is there's a Family Guy episode where what's the dog's name? What's the Brian like thinks that he can become a writer like George R.R. Martin.
Yes.
And he takes up like a bunch of meth or something and he stays up all night and he like world builds.
Right.
And then he reads it to Martin and Martin's like, no, it's terrible. You just like did a bunch of meth and made up something. That's, right. But it's funny because this paragraph reads like, it's like if you're in a creative writing class in like 10th grade, and you're writing a story you made up and it's like fantasy, this is your blueprint.
Absolutely.
But this reads like an actual real story that you would take the blueprint from.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Who amongst us haven't, like, when we were kids, like, thought up alien animals? You know what I mean? Like, oh, what would an animal on a Martian planet be? Like, when I was, 7 or 8, I wrote a series of books called Alien Teacher Attack that was all about 2 Martians who were teachers, and they lived on Mars. And I made, like, 6 of these little books, and wrote.
That's cool.
And so
I did that, like, 5 minutes ago. What do you mean?
Hell yeah, dude. No, when I was a kid, I used to read it to, like, my grandma and stuff, and I'd draw the pictures in it. But, like, that's just like a thing, or we would like try to come up with our own alphabet. Like I would write like fake letters, and basically it wasn't really an alphabet. More like a cryptogram or something, where you just translate a letter per letter. But yeah, so it's just like a very fun activity. I feel like I don't know if I'm the only one that did that, but I'm sure lots of people like to think like what would an alien animal be like?
Well, remember that Star Wars movie where like he kicks him in the groin, but like he's an alien, so it's actually his knee.
Was that Spaceballs? That wasn't Star Wars. Yeah.
Pizza the Hut.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
Prince Valium.
Yes. Funny, she didn't look Jewish. What would a Marilyn inside a
blow?
What would a Marilyn inside a blue whale sound like? Dude, Moldy is constantly beefing with Marilyn. It's rough, dude. But yeah, Moldy, you're not late, homie. We just started, so welcome. But yeah. Like I said, we can stop at any time. I thought this was super interesting, and also, like you said, it's a cold read, guys. This is an experimental stream. I initially wanted to have background music playing, but I would basically have to choose between music or the text on screen, and I prefer, because I watch a lot of like YouTube channels that do read stories, and I always prefer to read along with it. That's why I'm keeping the text on screen. But
let me see if I can get some royalty free.
Well, I actually made a playlist for this stream. I have it's a free internet archive, and it's basically I made like a whole playlist of ambient sounds, but in order to get it to come through, I would have to share the window instead of sharing a screen, and then I can't come into StreamYards and frickin' click on comments and stuff.
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Is it too loud? Hold on.
No. Hang on. Keep it going because I want to hear like the audio quality, and if it sounds good, then we can roll with it. Yeah, the audio quality is just a little bit less than. Yeah, it's peaking and dipping. So I say we just go without music because the way to do it is to play it through the actual stream itself so that it's actually like, good.
I want to play some Billy Ocean on the stream, dude. I wish we could play real music on YouTube. It would be so sweet. That's all I want to do is sit here and just play music.
You can. It is just that if you're monetized, it's going to screw you up. So I played the Talking Heads the other day because all that happens is you just get like, hey, this is copyrighted, so if you ever monetize it, the money's not going to you. You know what I mean? But so if you're not monetized, like you can play it. There are certain artists that will take you down, and especially if you show like a music video that's official.
Yeah, do not play my cousin Don Henley even for 2 seconds. He will obliterate you. He'll take you to the Senate. Like he hates you listening to his music.
Yeah, don't do it.
I think the Beatles, if you play 1.5 seconds of a Beatles song, it gets nuked. Who's sitting here playing the Beatles?
Dude, I was jamming a bluegrass before you showed up, man. I was playing the Stanley Brothers. All right, anyways, let's get back to it. But yeah, guys, so just bear with our hiccups and whatnot because this is the first of a new format, so it's totally cold read. And so, bear with us. The letters stopped. Through the fog, Cress saw something moving. That was enough for him. That and the word life forms in their advertisement. He swept his walking cloak over his shoulder and entered the store. Inside, Cress felt disoriented. The interior seemed vast, much larger than he would have guessed from the relatively modest frontage. It was dimly lit, peaceful. The ceiling was a starscape, complete with a spiral nebula, very dark and realistic, very nice. The counters all shone faintly, the better to display the merchandise within. The aisles were carpeted with ground fog. In places, it came almost to his knees and swirled about his feet as he walked.
Can I help you?
She seemed almost to have risen from the fog. Tall and gaunt and pale, she wore a practical gray jumpsuit and a strange little cap that rested well back on her head.
Are you woe or shade?
Cress asked.
Or only sales help? Jala woe, ready to serve you.
She replied.
Shade does not see customers. We have no sales help. You have quite a large establishment,
Cress said.
Odd that I've never heard of you before. We have only just opened the shop on. I'm doing terrible. I'm sorry. On Baldrack at Sea.
Yeah, it's all good. Would you? So when there's back and forth, I guess we could maybe take turns swapping through, just so that it's more sort of what do you call it?
I'll be the lady here. The woman said. We have franchises on a number of other worlds. However, what can I sell you? Art, perhaps? You have the look of a corrector. We have some fine Anor Talos crystal carvings.
No, Simon Crest said. I own all the crystal carvings I desire. I came to see about a pet.
A life form?
Yes.
Aryan?
Of course.
We have a mimic in stock from Celia's world. A clever little simian. Not only will it learn to speak, but eventually it will mimic your voice, inflections, gestures, even facial expressions.
That's cute, said Cress, and common. I have no use for either, Woe. I want something exotic, unusual, and not cute. I detest cute animals. At the moment, I own a shambler, imported from Kotho, at no means expense. From time to time, I feed him a litter of unwanted kittens. That is what I think of cute. Do I make myself understood? Woe smiled.
Enigmatically. Yeah, there you go. Have you ever owned an animal that worship you? She asked.
Cress grinned. Oh, now and again, but I don't require worship, Woe. Just entertainment.
Oh, you misunderstand me, Woe said, still wearing her strange smile. I meant worship literally.
What are you talking about?
I think I have just the thing for you, Woe said. Follow me.
Okay, so number one, I love that, because that is exactly what I would imagine this freaking shopkeeper to sound like.
And number,
yeah, and number two, like, how crazy is that, dude? Like, what the fuck? Have you ever had an animal worship you before?
You never had like a Korean lady ask you that in a shop?
Never, bro.
That's what happened to me during the Karonka shit.
Yeah, that's what happened when I visited Thailand.
Cigarettes? She was like, "Yeah, you buy mask, then you'll get cigarette. You want animal worship you? This human being."
You ever have a cigarette worship you before?
Special cigarette.
Yeah, dude. So now you're starting the audience starting to get a feel for where this story is going. All right. She led Cress between the radiant counters and down a long, fog-shrouded aisle beneath false starlight. They passed through a wall of mist into another section of the store and stopped before a large plastic tank. An aquarium, thought Cress. Woe beckoned. He stepped closer and saw that he was wrong. It was a terrarium. Within lay a miniature desert about 2 meters square, pale and bleached and scarlet by wan red light. Rocks, basalt and quartz and granite. In each quarter of the tank stood a castle. Cress blinked and peered and corrected himself. Actually, only 3 castles stood. The 4th leaned, a crumbled, broken ruin. The other 3 were crude but intact, carved of stone and sand. Over their battlements and through their rounded porticos, tiny creatures climbed and scrambled. Cress pressed his face against the plastic. Insects? He asked.
No, Will replied. A much more complex life form, more intelligent as well. Considerably smarter than your shambler. They are called Sandkings.
Insects, Cress said, drawing back from the tank. I don't care how complex they are, he frowned. And kindly don't try to gull me with this talk of intelligence. These things are far too small to have anything but the most rudimentary brains.
They share hive minds, Woe said. Castle minds, in this case. There are only 3 organisms in the tank, actually. The 4th died. You see how a castle has fallen.
Cress looked back at the tank. Hive minds, eh? Interesting. He frowned again. Still, it is only an oversized ant farm. I'd hoped for something better.
They fight wars.
Wars? Cress looked again.
Note the colors, if you will, Woe told him. She pointed to the creatures that swarmed over the nearest castle. One was scrabbling at the tank wall. Cress studied it. It still looked like an insect to his eyes, barely as long as his fingernails, 6-limbed with 6 tiny eyes set all around its body. A wicked set of mandibles checked visibly, while 2 long, fine antennae wove patterns in the air. Antennae, mandibles, eyes, and legs were sooty black, but the dominant color was the burnt orange of its armor plating.
It's an insect, Cress repeated.
It's not an insect, Woe insisted calmly. The armored exoskeleton is shed when the Sand King grows larger. If it grows larger in a tank this size, it won't. She took Cress by the elbow and led him around the tank to the next castle. Look at the colors here.
He did.
Yeah, there you go. You pick it up.
He did. They were different. Here the Sand Kings had bright red armor, antennae, mandibles, eyes, and legs were yellow. Cress glanced across the tank. The denizens of the third, live castle were off-white with red trim. He said.
They war, as I said, Woe told him. They even have truces and alliances. It was an alliance that destroyed the fourth castle in this tank. The blacks were getting too numerous, so the others were forces to destroy them.
I'm sorry. that sentence is just all right.
Cress, where I'm sorry, I lost.
Okay, yeah. The blacks were getting too numerous, so the others joined forces to destroy them. Cress remained unconvinced. Amusing, no doubt, but insects fight wars too.
Insects do not worship, Woe said.
Eh? Woe smiled. There you go.
Pointed at the castle. Cress stared. A face had been carved into the wall of the highest tower. He recognized it. It was Jala Woe's face.
How?
I projected a holograph of my face into the tank, kept it there for a few days. The face of God, you see. I feed them. I am always close. The Sandking have a rudimentary, I can't fucking see this, have a rudimentary psionic sense. Proximity telepathy. They sense me. They worship me by using my face to decorate their buildings. All the castles have them. See? They did.
Okay, so hang on just a second. That's fucking crazy. But you're saying you're having trouble reading it now. Can you try to zoom in? Because I know if you pull up the article right off the bat, it's very small. But you can actually zoom in. You can press Control and then the plus sign, and you should be able to zoom in. And there's also a way to do it by there might even be by right clicking.
Whoa, dude! I've never worn glasses before, and I can see. You're telling me I'm white?
Oh, wait. Did you just not have your glasses on this whole time? Is that why you couldn't see?
I didn't, because I've never worn glasses, and I didn't want to put them on because when I tried them on at the Walgreen, my head was swimming, and I got a little, I got a little, I don't want to start wearing glasses. But
Right. Well, I just felt bad for you because I'm like, he's probably like reading it in like size 5 font, and like that's.
Well, also, I was trying to zoom in. I was trying to the two fingers expand and zoom in, and then when I moved, it shrunk again, and then I couldn't find them because I'm a boomer. Also, I don't know how to read good.
I don't read good. Read's gay. Dude, we had a troll show up in the chat last stream, and he literally said that. He was like, "Have you ever read a book before?" And I said, "No, reading's gay."
Remember that guy in the comments? He was like, "Hey, can you recommend a movie?" Jay was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I've never seen a movie. Can you recommend one?"
Yes.
It's like totally sincere.
Dude, you get the craziest comments, bro. Like doing this, people are nuts.
I like the schizo ones that don't make sense. I love those because they make sense to me.
Did you see what we did with the last schizo poster that came in here, dude? We made so we had this dude roll up, and he was tight. He did full schizo rant, like full all caps, emojis, everything, and he just kept going. So I told him, I said, "Keep going, dude. I'm gonna copy and paste all your comments into ChatGPT. I'm gonna have it spit me out a mumble rap, and then I'm gonna take it to another AI app, and I'm gonna make a mumble rap song out of your schizo post." Yeah. And then we did.
He's like, "You don't understand religion, man. It's ancient. It's from the Titans."
Yo, legit, dude. What about swimming? Take them off when you go in the water. What do you? You talk about glasses. 24 hours. Okay, never mind. All right. So what do we think so far, dude?
Dude, this is. You know what? I think that they stole this, or maybe this was just the inspiration for what's that show? The Outer Limits.
Dude, that's what this is. That's a Sandkings. That's what the episode's called. Yeah. Nice. So thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to mention that in the beginning. So after I read the story, about a couple years later, I had started buying the Outer Limits DVD collections because I had all the original Outer Limits series, and as many of you know, I collect movies, but specifically I collect anthology TV and movies like anthologies, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, all of those. And so I was trying to finish my collection by getting the Outer Limits, so I started watching through that show, and like very early on in the series, they did a Sandkings. It might even have been the first episode.
I think it was. Yeah, the pilot. Yeah. Yeah,
and it was a 2-parter with Beau Bridges, Jeff Bridges' brother.
It was
the dude.
Good too. It was really well done.
So good, but it's completely different from the story, and that's why it's like if y'all know this story from the Outer Limits, you're gonna still be surprised because the story is completely different.
Dude, you
But
got to give me some credit here. I mean, like The Outer Limits is like a 2000 era TV show that I watched on the free antenna TV when I didn't have cable or internet.
Yeah.
And I've never read this story, and I connected those two because I'm a noticer.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Keep noticing.
Yeah, it's
bro.
Beau Bridges. He's like in the shed and he's like building this thing.
Yep. Yep.
And I think like his son comes in or something, and then people, you know. So
yep. So the show takes place on Earth, and it is basically he works for a military contractor, some sort of military organization, and he gets these animals, he brings them home, and then things go awry. Whereas the story obviously takes place on a different planet in a different galaxy, alien pet shop as we're seeing. So yeah, very different. Same.
I think it's literally DARPA in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I think they even name it.
Yep. Oh, snap, dude. Moldy. Snap, bro. We got $100 super chat to split between me and BLA from our homeboy, Moldy Apple. Thank you so much, Moldy.
Dude, you keep that and get a ticket, man. I want you to come down here.
Thank you so much, Moldy. And also, Austin Woolery sent in $10. He says, here's $10 to help with the train ticket. I'd offer more, but it's all I can spare at the moment. No need for a shout out. Well, I'm so sorry. Awesome. Should have read that first. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate that. And then, okay, so that's it. But yeah, so anyway, so far, I really like this concept where it's like, yo, how about an animal that worships you though, bro? And they literally go to war.
This is really cool because this is you know this is the human beings are obviously going to be it's a microcosm, macrocosm, right? So I have a feeling that like it's really the human beings or something that are insectoid in terms. Maybe that's an analogy or it's metaphorical, but this is cool. This is cool and original, and it has like faint echoes of other science fiction and fantasy stories, and yet it's not derivative. It doesn't seem derivative.
Right. Yeah, no, it's just such a unique concept for a story, you know.
Scary.
And, it is. It's really. It's a very. I just like the idea of it, you know.
He's got good words too. He's got good language in here.
My man's got words good. On the castle, the face of Jala Woe was serene and peaceful and very lifelike. Cress marveled at the workmanship. How do they do it?
The foremost legs double as arms. They even have fingers of a sort. 3 small flexible tendrils, and they cooperate well both in building and in battle. Remember, all the mobiles of one color share a single mind.
Tell me more, Cress said.
Woe smiled. The Maw lives in the castle. Maw is my name for her, a pun, if you will. The thing is mother and stomach both. Female large as your fist, immobile. Actually, Sandking is a bit of a misnomer. The mobiles are peasants and warriors. The real ruler is a queen, but that analogy is faulty as well. Considered as a whole, each castle is a single hermaphroditic creature.
What do they eat?
The mobiles eat pap, pre-digested food obtained inside the castle. They get it from the Maw after she's worked on it for several days. I'm trying a new character.
Hell yeah. No, she's a schizo, dude. She's got multiple personalities.
Their stomachs can't handle anything else. So if the Maw dies, they soon die as well. The Maw eats anything. You'll have no special expense here. Table scraps will do excellently.
Live food? Cress asked.
Woe shrugged. Each Maw eats mobiles from the other castles. Yes.
I am intrigued, he admitted. If only they weren't so small.
Yours can be larger. These Sandkings are small because their tank is small. They seem to limit their growth to fit available space. If I move these to a larger tank, they'd start growing again.
My piranha tank is twice this size and vacant. It could be cleaned out, filled with sand.
Woe and Shade could take care of your installation. It would be our pleasure.
Of course, said Cress. I would expect 4 intact castles.
Certainly, Woe said. They began to haggle about the price. Your soul.
3 days later, Jala Woe arrived at Simon Cress's estate with dormant Sandkings and a work crew to take charge of the installation. Woe's assistants were aliens unlike any Cress was familiar with. Squat, broad bipeds with 4 arms and bulging, multifaceted eyes. Their skin was thick and leathery, twisted into horns and spines and protrusions at odd spots upon their bodies. Oh my gosh, yo, this is just like the one thing from Elden Ring. So George Martin wrote Elden Ring, and this is just
Really?
like the yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So George R.R. Martin was the one who wrote Elden Ring for the video game, and they used it.
Is Elden Ring Part 4 of Oblivion?
No.
Is that-
It's so if you're familiar with the video game series Dark Souls, it's basically by that guy Miyazaki. Not to get off on a video game tangent, but so basically the director of those game series, Hidetaka Miyazaki, collaborated with Martin on the story for Elden Ring. So he wrote the entire lore and the story arc. And there's a
Hell
whole
yeah.
thing in that game about the it's like a disease that the royals get where their body just starts growing these curly horns all over themselves, and it's considered a
Oh,
curse. But then they see it as a blessing, and it's like they become a different. So that's really cool to see that already starting in this
okay. I
story.
was thinking of Elder Scrolls.
Yeah. Elder
I'm
Scrolls,
sorry.
Elden Ring, very
That's
similar.
Skyrim. Okay. I
Yep.
got it. That's
Exactly.
cool that you wrote that. That's pretty
Wow. Okay, so
3 days
thick and
later.
leathery, twisted into horns and spines and protrusions at odd spots upon their bodies. But they were very strong and good workers. Woe ordered them about in a musical tongue that Crest had never heard. In a day it was done. They moved his piranha tank to the center of his spacious living room, arranged couches on either side of it for better viewing, scrubbed it clean and filled it 2/3 of the way with sand and rock. Then they installed a special lighting system, both to provide the dim red illumination the Sandkings preferred and to project holographic images into the tank. On top, they mounted a sturdy plastic cover with a feeder mechanism built in. This way, this one's you.
This way you can feed your Sandkings without removing the top of the tank. Woe explained. You would not want to take any chances on the mobiles escaping.
The cover also included climate-controlled devices to condense just the right amount of moisture from the air.
You want it dry, but not too dry, Woe said.
Finally, one of the 4 armed workers climbed into the tank and dug deep pits into the 4 corners. One of his companions handed the dormant maws over to him, removing them one by one from their frosted cryonic traveling cases. They were nothing to look at. Crest decided they resembled nothing so much as a mottled, half-spoiled chunk of raw meat with a mouth. The alien buried them, one in each corner of the tank. Then they sealed it up and took their leave.
The heat will bring the moles out of dormancy, Woe said. In less than a week, mobiles will begin to hatch and burrow to the surface. Be certain to give them plenty of food. They will need all their strength until they are well established. I would estimate that you will have castles rising in about 3 weeks.
And my face? When will they carve my face?
Turn on the hologram after about a month, she advised him. And be patient. If you have any questions, please call. Woe and Shade are at your service. She bowed and left.
Cress wandered back to the tank and lit a joystick. Imagine that's a joint. Okay. The desert was still and empty. He drummed his fingers impatiently against the plastic and frowned. On the 4th day, Cress thought he glimpsed motion beneath the sand, subtle subterranean stirrings. On the 5th day, he saw his first mobile, a lone white. On the 6th day, he counted a dozen of them, whites and reds and blacks. The oranges.
This is a new Genesis.
Oh yeah, 100%. You could see, yeah, 100%.
He's the new god. I get it.
Yeah. All right, where are we here?
The oranges were.
No, I know. I'm looking for it. Where the hell? Okay, there it is. He cycled through a bowl of half-decayed table scraps. The mobile sensed it at once, rushed to it, and began to drag pieces back to their respective corners. Each color group was very organized. They did not fight. Cress was a bit disappointed, but he decided to give them time. The oranges made their appearance on the 8th day. By then, the other Sand Kings had begun to carry small stones and erect crude fortifications. They still did not war. At the moment, they were only half the size of those he had seen at Woe and Shades, but Crest thought they were growing rapidly. The castles began to rise midway through the 2nd week. Organized battalions of mobiles dragged heavy chunks of sandstone and granite back to their corners, where other mobiles were pushing sand into place with mandibles and tendrils. Cress had purchased a pair of magnifying goggles so he could watch them work, wherever they might go in the tank. He wandered around and around the tall plastic walls observing. It was fascinating. The castles were a bit plainer than Cress would have liked, but he had an idea about that. The next day, he cycled through some obsidian and flakes of colored glass along with
Nice.
the food. Within hours, they had been incorporated into the castle walls. Right? That's cool. They're gonna make little stained glass windows and shit.
That's cool.
The Black Castle was the first completed, followed by the white and red fortresses. The oranges were last, as usual. Crest took his meals into the living room and ate, seated on the couch so he could watch. He expected the first war to break out any hour now. He was disappointed. Days passed. The castles grew taller and more grand, and Crest seldom left the tank except to attend to his sanitary needs and answer critical business calls. But the Sandkings did not war. He was getting upset. Finally, he stopped feeding them. 2 days after the table scraps had ceased to fall from their desert sky, 4 black mobiles surrounded an orange and dragged it back to their maw. They maimed it first, ripping off its mandibles and antennae and limbs, and carried it through the shadowed main gate of their miniature castle. It never emerged. Within an hour, more than 40 orange mobiles marched across the sand and attacked the blacks' corner. They were outnumbered by the blacks that came rushing up from the depths. When the fighting was over, the attackers had been slaughtered. The dead and dying were taken down to feed the black maw. Cress, delighted, congratulated himself on his genius. When he put food into the tank the following day, a 3-cornered battle broke out over its possession. The whites were the big winners. After that, war followed war.
This is awesome.
Right?
It reminds me of the old Clash of the Titans movie. Have you seen that one? It's very.
Of course, Clash of the Titans. You're talking. Is that Harryhausen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how they portray it in that is very crude, with like the people as little idols, little dolls.
Yeah.
There's a line in King Lear where he says, "We are but playthings to the gods; they kill us for their sport."
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly, or in
exactly.
Remember Family Guy when Peter gets the mice, gladiator mice.
Yes. Now,
I have everything and you have nothing.
What do you think? Do you think that this is ham-fisted a little bit, or do you like the way he's sort of doing this?
I think that if the campiness of it and like the kind of the
themes, like the themes of the gods, like you said, like playthings, like
I don't know yet because I think the payoff is going to sort of determine that, but along the trip here it seems purposefully ham-fisted. It's like purposefully it's obvious. So
yes.
but however, it's important to keep in mind that it doesn't seem obvious to the dude. Right. He's the one that is doing it.
When I read this, as 18 years old or 19 years old, it wasn't that obvious to me. At least I don't remember thinking like, oh wow, this is like clearly a commentary on religion and war and whatnot.
Well, like today I was talking to a buddy and he was talking about the 12 tribes of Israel, right?
Yeah.
And he was talking about where they came from, what they became.
Right.
And I kind of noticed that the descriptions of the bloodlines and the tribes are not archaic. They sort of seem old and archaic, like, oh, this is scripture and this is old, ancient. Right. But actually, the point of it is that it's still relevant and it still happens.
Yeah, so it's like the human experience is universal. We're all humans, so we can relate. It transcends culture, it transcends time.
But you would ask yourself, like, why would a villainous family group who just like exists on strife and bloodshed, like, why would they want to do that when they realize it? And it's like, no,
right?
They wouldn't. Of course they wouldn't. They love that. They would keep doing it. So this, I guess, is analogous to that. And of course, the guy manipulating the world is, something's going to happen.
And then you got the racial element too, with the whites, the blacks, the reds, and the oranges. Like that is just so. That's the only thing. And I was wondering about that before we read this, because like I said, I haven't read this in over a decade, and so I don't remember anything about it beyond like the most basic broad stroke like concept. And I wondered like, how because I knew that it was a story about religion and war, and so I'm like, there's no way he's a Christian, and so I figured how like anti-Christian is this gonna get, and so far it hasn't gone there,
House Atreides. I mean, look at Jamestown, right? When they first got to Virginia, the first thing that they did was build a fort.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the second thing they did was like attack the natives. And then the third thing, I mean, it's the same.
You have to.
So yeah,
You
so
literally have to. Especially
yeah,
back
it's
then,
like
they had to build walls and have a fort, and then the city would basically grow up around that because
yeah.
you'd have the fort run by the military and the people who were in the group, the pilgrims or whatever, the colonists, and then you had obviously fighting with natives over territory, and then
These
eventually
people,
you'd have
yeah.
people come in and they would set up shops on the outskirts of the fort because that's where all the money and resources were, and then that's how towns just developed.
Oh, they get there. Let's just have peace with these people. Wonderful culture. They got maize. They trade maize. They don't know what it is. They're just sticking it up their ass, and then and right there's human sacrifice everywhere.
Right.
And then all the settlers become the colonists become cannibals.
Right.
Right.
That's actually an interesting question, Moldy, because like I'm super fascinated by specifically by like the Revolutionary War period in history, which is a little bit later than what we're talking about, a couple hundred years later, about 300 years after. But I am curious because you don't hear a lot about walls in the native societies.
No, they had yurts.
They had cannibalism.
They had
they had brutal torture methods.
They didn't have walls because, like here, Powhatan was the great, Indian king, and so they didn't need walls because he controlled everything. And the walls are like they don't need walls when they have like rivers and valleys separating from other tribes, I guess.
Sure, and just also, bloodshed, bro. Just like the fact that like you come onto our turf and we're gonna cut your head off and put it on a pike.
Well, they were more advanced because they didn't need walls. They're tying the earth down with fences, right?
They had spirit. Down. They had spirit walls, dude. They just burned some sage, and you can't pass my force field, dude. The ground's
Incans
lava.
Had walls.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah,
the floor is lava. The grass over there in the neighbor's yard is lava. You can't touch that or you're dead.
You can't walk on the grass, man. It's smiling. Look at it. The tomatoes are bleeding blood, man.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, a human being? No, that's fine.
Yo, Clontarf, I totally agree. So, have you seen Sinners?
Yeah, I covered it right after it came out.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I saw it because
before you say anything, because you've already put your opinion out on there, so I wanna see if we had the same idea here. But so I started watching this, and everybody was saying Sinners is such a good movie, and so I'm like, okay, I gotta check this out. So I start watching this. And spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I'm watching it. I'm like, this sucks. I'm not enjoying this at all. This is like revisionist history. This is like taking modern black culture and projecting it onto that time period, which is just not, it's just not reality. That's not how the world was back then. But of course, it's a piece of fiction. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I'm watching it. Halfway through, when it gets to the plot twist, I go, this is fucking From Dusk Till Dawn. This is Black From Dusk Till Dawn, bro. Like, if you're gonna, like, I get what you guys are doing. You're trying to be like, we're gonna make a cool black guy movie. Then make your own fucking movie. Why are you gonna just rip off From Dusk Till Dawn? That goes opposite of what you want to do. Like,
it was that. I think it was even purposely. He's like, the guy's like, no, it was an homage. It's like,
okay.
I think, right. But yeah, I found it gratuitous and like just kind of nasty. All the sex scenes in it, I thought were like nasty.
Right. And that's where I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it immediately upon the part where she takes him in the back room and gets on her knees, and I just shut it off. I'm like, I was so offended by the fact that they couldn't even make an original plot, that they literally stole the entire twist of From Dusk Till Dawn, which is that halfway through the movie you realize, oh, this is a vampire movie. Like, oh, this is vampires.
Well, I will say that the saying is that great artists steal and bad ones borrow. So they did just steal it, but they did do that, and it's transparent. And also,
had that been the only problem?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
The best part, there are like 12 endings to the movie.
Really?
It does not stop. Yeah.
Oh, it does a Lord of the Rings Return of the King, where you think it's over and you think it's over, you think.
But it's insistent. It insists upon itself that it's important when you watch it, and it's just not,
Right.
And the best part were the Irish vampires, and when they were singing, I mean, their songs were fucking actually good.
So I didn't watch anything beyond that part that I mentioned, which is right after the musical number, where they're the first musical number, right after
terrible.
that. Yeah,
the guy singing. He's like, I talk like this, and I got a song to sing. I'm like, why are you talking like that? What is this?
Right. Right. So
But you
do you
gotta
think
look
I
up
should?
the Irish songs.
Do you think I should finish it, or was it not? Was it not worth it? Because for
Uh,
me, I was getting so angry at it, just the gratuitous sex and the stupid revisionist history and the stealing of the plot device. I was just like, I'm
yeah.
done with this.
Well, I mean, you don't need to because you can just surmise what happens in
Mm-hmm.
the movie. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy. Um, Gemini twins and all this shit. It's demonic. It's a demonic movie. Like
For sure.
it's celebrating demonic like paganism,
Yeah.
and I would suggest though that you look up the songs and the Irish songs because you in particular will like those. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I love me some bluegrass, and I definitely love blues. So, yo, shouts out to Jim Bob, homeboy. We just got rated by Made by Jim Bob. What's up, Jortlandians, y'all? Today
Oh yeah.
we got the Bazed Lit analyzer up here, and we are reading Sandkings. We are only about 2 pages in so far. Basically, what we're doing is we're reading the story by George R.R. Martin, Sandkings, and then we're riffing and we're talking and we're taking breaks and we're just sort of. It's a chill stream, dude. It's a late night chill stream. We're listening to music. For anybody who wants to super chat, I see people talking in the chat. The super chats are sent in via Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. I got the link pinned in the live
Support
chat.
Gary because he needs the money so he can come down to my wedding. He needs his bus ticket. They're expensive. Please support him.
And if you want us to split it, dude, put it in there, or we could just split it. I mean, I really don't mind splitting it, but yes, please support the channel if you like to support, or you could just smash that like, hang out in the live chat. But thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you to Jim Bob, who is always helping out and always freaking raiding, dude. I really appreciate
Shout out
that.
to James Bob, James Robert.
Dude, and you guys can go back and check out the stream I did with Jim Bob years ago. Jim Bob's been a longtime friend of the show, and yeah, he's just the man, dude.
We
and
also did a couple streams.
BLA there. Is getting married, dude. Let's go.
That's right.
And yes, BLA has also done many streams. And for anybody here who has never heard of BLA, this is the Bazed Lit analyzer. He is a literature analyzer, dude. And I'm not going to give out his private info, but just to put it in the vaguest terms possible, my man's is qualified to analyze literature. And so check out his channel because it'll blow your mind the stuff he's breaking down about books.
This is a great story. It's called Sandkings, and it is the story of the young bin Laden making his way through the desert and the caves of Tora Bora. And we're going to see how it's analogous to the building of empires. You know what it does remind me of, though, is I covered this movie called The Keep by Michael Mann.
Yeah, I know it. That's the Nazi Golem movie, right?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It's got like Scott Glenn is like an archon fighting this Nazi demon, and it's people generally hate the movie. It's kind of a cult movie, and you either hate it or the soundtrack's amazing. It's Tangerine Dream,
right?
But it reminds me of that because again, we've got these sort of castles built up, and we've got this. Oh, by the way, and they're starved, right? Mm-hmm. The siege on the castle is actually laid by the Gnostic god character here, which is the man, lording over these creatures. So I want to see.
Yeah, so let's catch up. Let's catch up all the new audience because we just got a lot of new people showing up just now. So we're about 2 pages into Sandkings. So far, this story takes place in a totally different galaxy. It's a sci-fi horror, weird fiction in the style heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. Weird fiction. So basically, the story is you got this guy. He's sort of a wealthy alien person, and he likes to collect animals from these sort of bazaars. These intergalactic flea markets that sell exotic pets. And so he had to go on a business trip. All his pets died. So he's like, I gotta get me a new pet. I don't want any of the old crap I've already had. So he goes to this little like thrift shop type weird store, and he gets these animals called Sandkings that are like tiny little insects. They each share a hive mind, and in one aquarium or terrarium, you have 4 different races of these Sandkings. So you have the whites, the oranges, the blacks, and the reds. And so the lady tells him that these insects are going to worship you and they're going to war with each other. So he gets him, he brings it into his house. He lets them grow. After a week, he's like, how come these things aren't killing each other? They're just building their castle and hanging out. So he decides to starve them, and then they instantly go to war. That's where we are at in the story. So now y'all are caught up. So
they have a psionic mind, and by the way, he's turning into a Coomer, like sitting there watching these things grow.
Oh yeah, he's getting off on it.
Death, right? Yeah.
So let's kick it back into it. This is Sandkings. All right, so where did we end off? We're about right here.
Almost a month. Is that where we are?
I think the Black Cat. Yeah, actually, let's start here. The Black Castle was the first completed, followed by the White and Red Fortresses. The Oranges were last as usual. Actually, yeah. Crest took his meals into the living room and ate, seated on the couch so he could watch. He expected the first. Wait a minute, this is way. Sorry, we're right here.
We're after that war followed war, and that was
yeah. Right here. Almost a month to the day after Jala Woe had delivered the Sand Kings, Crest turned on the holographic projector, and his face materialized into the tank. It turned slowly around and around, so his gaze fell on all 4 castles equally. Crest thought it rather a good likeness. It had his impish grin, wide mouth, full cheeks. His blue eyes sparkled. His gray hair was carefully arrayed in a fashionable wide sweep. His eyebrows were thin and sophisticated. Soon enough, the Sand Kings set to work. Crest fed them lavishly while his image beamed down at them from their sky. Temporarily, the wars stopped. All activity was directed towards worship. His face emerged on the castle walls. At first, all 4 carvings looked alike to him. But as the work continued and Crest studied their reproductions, he began to detect subtle differences in technique and execution. The reds were the most creative, using tiny flakes of slate to put gray in his hair. The white idol seemed young and mischievous to him, while the face shaped by the blacks, although virtually the same line for line, struck him as wise and beneficent. The orange Sand Kings, as ever, were last and least. The wars had not gone well for them, and their castle was sad compared to the others. The image they carved was crude and cartoonish, and they seemed to intend to leave it that way. When they stopped work on the face, Crest grew quite piqued with them, but there was really nothing he could do. When all the Sand Kings had finished their Crest faces, he turned off the holograph and decided it was time to have a party. His friends would be very impressed. He could even stage a war for them, he thought. Humming happily to himself, he began to draw up a guest list.
So now he's a Roman emperor.
Right? He's like, I'm gonna have a what do you call it? Not a crucible.
A bacchanal, an orgy on a barge.
No, the Colosseum. The Colosseum is gonna, and it sounds like George R.R. Martin doesn't like the Asians very much, dude. I mean, it's like the oranges are they're the most annoying. They're the slowest as always.
Yeah, but don't forget he's a prevert though, so he likes something about him. It's based on him, by the way. He's the guy, like he's the Coomer who did all this, but he did it with like G.I. Joes or something.
Yeah, right? He's sitting in it, he's like, I so badly wish this was real. I got to write this story.
Gladiator mice.
All right. The party was a wild success. Crest invited 30 people, a handful of close friends who shared his amusements, a few former lovers. Who wants to do that? Who wants to invite their ex to this thing? And a collection of business and social rivals who could not afford to ignore his summons. He knew some of them would be discomfited and even offended by his Sand Kings. In fact, he counted on it. Simon Crest customarily considered his parties a failure unless at least one guest walked out in high dudgeon. On impulse, he added Jala Woe's name to his list. Bring shade, if you like, he added when dictating her invitation. Her acceptance surprised him just a bit.
Shade, alas, will be unable to attend. He does not go to social functions, Woe added. As for myself, I look forward to the chance to see how your Sand Kings are doing. She's Asian.
Yep, she's Asian. Sometimes she's Australian. Crest ordered them up to a sumptuous meal. And when at last the conversation had died down and most of his guests had gotten silly on wine and joysticks, he shocked them by personally scraping their table leavings into a large bowl. Come, all of you, he told them. I want to introduce you to my newest pets. Carrying the bowl, he conducted them into his living room. The Sand Kings lived up to his fondest expectations. He had starved them for 2 days in preparation, and they were in a fighting mood. While the guests ringed the tank, looking through the magnifying glasses Crest had thoughtfully provided, the Sand Kings waged a glorious battle over the scraps. He counted almost 60 dead mobiles when the struggle was over. The Reds and Whites, who had recently formed an alliance, emerged with most of the food.
Yeah, this is also like this is like the silver chair. C.S. Lewis is the same. It's the same thing that happens, or it's like the Anglo-American table group, right? Redrawing the map and having people fight it out, or the Archilds, or any sort of archetypal thing. But they say he's disgusting because this guy. This is like, who was the emperor who he would fatten people up, and then he would have a big feast, and then he would lock the doors, and he would throw lions and tigers into the room.
Really? That's a real thing?
Yeah,
what?
It was real. It wasn't Caligula. It was
well, I know Caligula for many other reasons, but
yeah. Well, Caligula had that head lopping machine. He would he would bury people to their neck.
Yo, what would Alex say about the Sandkings, dude?
Well, this is an archetypal story, right? Of the Anglo-American agreement. It's very obvious. It's just like Star Wars or anything archetypal. This is a what would he say? He would say, "They're going to kill you and your family." Now, I got a family audience here, so I can't say they have rituals. Some of the most ancient Egyptian rituals where they believe they are possessed by entities, basically space aliens. Now, I don't believe this, but George W. Bush and his tomb mate, John Kerry, these are people.
How about Alex Jones as a Sand King? Folks, the famine's an inside job, okay? This is not a natural famine. We got a guy outside of the tank, and he is purposefully starving us. We got to unite.
Dreams are messages from the deep. He was obsessed with Dune when it came out.
We got to unite. We got to break the conditioning, break out of the tank. We got to seize the food.
Yeah, this makes sense. I mean, these are basically human animal pig chimeras, right? Spider guts. Right. I learned about this from my granddad when I was 5 years old, right? There was a nuclear reactor under UT Austin.
Yeah, the oranges need a little methylene blue in their system. They need a little super valve vitality.
I love Alex.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of crazy, dude. He's setting up parties, bringing people over. So now it's like, it's been gross from the beginning, the fact that he's got this tank of these because that's the thing, is these are not bugs. These are intelligent life forms. They're just on a smaller scale. You know, she even tells him in the beginning, like, yo, these things are like very intelligent. He's like, no, these are just bugs. She's like, no.
Hasn't he seen the movie The Thing?
Right.
I mean, it seems like they're going to keep growing, right? Like the planet Omicron in the final Star Wars
she told him
movie.
She told him that they will grow depending on how big the tank is. So you give them a bigger tank.
She's also clearly some sort of what's the word, psychopomp or something. You know, shade and woe.
Oh, you think she's mischievous figure in this story?
Yeah. I think she's some sort of what are those? The fates. Right, she's some sort of messenger or something, playing a trick.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I definitely agree with that. I think that the Sand Kings, it seemed like the most dangerous pet imaginable, right? I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I mean, like, they're intelligent. They're a hive mind. They worship.
They're kings.
You know? Yeah, they're
kings.
Sand Kings, right?
And they worship a mother goddess. And that's never good, right?
Are you talking about the Rick Moranis movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Because that's what this makes me think of, because of the bugs and the shrinking.
Rick Moranis was in Little Shop of Horrors.
Well, that too, where he's growing the what's the name of the plant? Audrey Jr.
But there was a scene like this though in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, because they're fighting the ants or whatever.
Right, that's what I was thinking of. But also shouts out to our Little Shop. Hey, shouts out to our Little Shop of Horrors stream we did. We actually watched Little Shop of Horrors on a chill stream years ago. Sorry, what were you going to say?
What was this? Oh, shouts out to the movie Ants with Jerry. Is that the Seinfeld movie?
No. The Seinfeld movie is the B movie. Ants is the one with, what's his name? Woody. Was that Woody Allen in Ants?
Ugh.
Yeah, I think Woody. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat.
I wish I could be an ant.
I'm pretty sure Woody Allen did the voice of
I wish I could be an ant and just be stomped on. That's my fantasy.
Stallone and Woody? Yeah, that's what I thought, dude. That's what I did. All right, anyways. Yes, Sylvester Stallone did the buff ant or whatever. That was a great movie, dude. Ants rocks.
He probably took that role for his kids or whatever. I like Stallone.
Yeah,
I had an essay prepared for that book that was going to be published, and I don't think it got approved. From that professor, we were writing an academic study of Stallone's movies. I was doing Demolition Man, but I don't think it got approved though. But
yeah, I might be mixing up Bugs Life and Ants. I had them both in the old clamshell VHS. I watched them a million times as a kid, so it's been years. That's what we need to do, BLA. We need to have you back on. We'll do an analysis of Bugs Life and Ants.
All right. And then B movie. I'm a gay B.
I've still never seen the B movie. I gotta watch that. I gotta ironically go back and watch the B movie because I'm crazy about Seinfeld, dude. I love that show so much. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, dude.
I saw him live.
Yeah.
And he did the stand up live. I told you what I said, right? When he said like now it's audience, but you can ask a question. That's what I said.
You did, but I can't remember what was it.
He said, "Anybody got a question?" And I shouted out, "I'm gay!" And I pointed at my friend, and everybody clapped for my buddy sitting next to me. I was like, "Dude, that's all. Congratulations, man. It's brave." He was like, "Good job." He was pissed.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, honestly, like the Jews did a good one by making the Seinfeld TV show. That was. I
was just talking about that show on my last stream because it's the happy universe in that show where there's no problems.
It's just such a comfortable show to watch. You're having a bad day, you throw it on. It's like hell yeah.
And it's aged well. There was a time when it was kind of dated, and now it's come back. Like the way they look and their clothes. That's like how people are now.
I watch that. It takes me to my happy place, like being a kid in the '90s. It's just like, oh man, take us back.
Have you ever listened to Costanza Wave? The subgenre of vaporwave, but it's Costanza.
No.
Yeah, it's like sine wave.
Dude, I gotta check that out. Oh my goodness. All right, let's keep it going on this. All right, so
how about Kramer doing live stand up? That's something totally different.
Yeah, he's the best one ever, dude. Everybody look up Michael Richards stand up, dude. You want to laugh? Based Michael Richards. Anyways, where the hell were we? Okay, let's start from here. On impulse, he added. Oh wait, no, we already read that. Sorry about this, guys. We're reading. Like I said, this is an experimental stream, so pardon our hiccups. This is we're just reading it straight, first time, and so we're gonna have little hiccups here. So I gotta find where I freaking left off here. 2 days of preparation. Yeah. Okay.
Press, you're disgusting. I think.
Yeah. Here, you can be Kath here.
Okay. Cress, you're disgusting, Kath Mullane told him. She had lived with him for a short time 2 years before until her soppy sentimentality almost drove him mad. I was a fool to come back here. I thought perhaps you'd changed, wanted to apologize. She had never forgiven him for the last time his shambler had eaten an excessively cute puppy of which she had been fond. Don't ever invite me here again, Simon. Oh. She strode out, accompanied by her current lover, and a chorus of laughter.
Yo, dude, that's hilarious. Well, this is a perfect lesson of why you don't freaking invite your ex-girlfriend over when your animal freaking ate her dog. You know
he did this to out of spite, right? Right. To laugh in her face or something. This guy's Machiavellian.
Absolutely. Where did the Sandkings come from? Oh wait, is that where we are? Yeah, his other guests were full of questions. Where did the Sandkings come from? They wanted to know. From Woe and Shade Importers, he replied with a polite gesture towards Jala Woe, who had remained quiet and apart through most of the evening. Why did they decorate their castles with his likeness? Because I am the source of all good things. Surely you know that. That brought a round of chuckles. Will they fight again? Of course, but not tonight. Don't worry. There will be other parties.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I didn't imagine this was going to be a one-off. Yeah. Jod Rockies, who was an amateur xenologist, began talking about other social insects and the wars they fought. These Sandkings are amusing, but nothing really. You ought to read about Terran soldier ants, for instance.
This guy's trying to one-up him.
Oh, yeah. There's always got to be that one guy,
Yeah. Oh, this is nothing. You should have been there in the beginning with their first album. Mm-hmm. Sandkings are not insects, Jalawo said sharply. But Jad was off and running, and no one paid her the slightest attention. Cress smiled at her and shrugged.
Meleda Blaine suggested a betting pool the next time they got together to watch a war, and everyone was taken with the idea. An animated discussion about rules and odds ensued. It lasted for almost an hour. Finally, the guests began to take their leave. Jalo Wo was the last to depart. So, Cress said to her when they were alone, It appears my Sandkings are a hit.
They are doing well, Woe said. Already they are larger than my own.
Yes, Crest said, except for the oranges.
I had noticed that, Woe replied. They seem few in number, and their castle is shabby.
Well, someone must lose, Crest said. The oranges were late to emerge and get established, and they have suffered for it.
Pardon, said Woe, but might I ask if you are feeding your Sandkings sufficiently?
Crest shrugged. They diet from time to time. It makes them fiercer.
Chief frowned. There is no need to starve them. Let them war in their own time for their own reasons. It is their nature, and you will witness conflicts that are delightfully subtle and complex. The constant war brought on by hunger is artless and degrading.
Simon Crest repaid Woe's frowns with interest. You are in my house, Woe, and here I am the judge of what is degrading. I fed the Sand Kings as you advised, and they did not fight.
You must have patience.
No, Crest said. I am their master and their god, after all.
Oh.
Why should I wait on their impulses? They did not war often enough to suit me. I corrected the situation.
I see, said Woe. I will discuss the matter with Shade.
It is none of your concern, or his. I must bid you... Oh, sorry, that's you.
I must bid you good night, then, Woe said, with resignation. But as she slipped into her coat to depart, she fixed him with a final disapproving stare. Look to your faces, Simon Crest, she warned him. Look to your faces.
Puzzled, he wandered back to the tank and stared at the castles after she had taken her departure. His faces were still there as ever. Except, he snatched up his magnifying goggles and slipped them on. Even then it was hard to make out, but it seemed to him that the expression on the face of his images had changed slightly, that his smile was somehow twisted so that it seemed a touch malicious. But it was a very subtle change, and if it was a change at all. Crest finally put it down to suggestibility and resolved not to invite Jallowo to any more of his gatherings. Yo, how about that, dude? How about that?
Yeah, it's and now it's a picture of Dorian Gray.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit. He's his own reflection. His inner self, yeah. And also just the way that they're pissed off at him because they know he's being unjust. Now he knows he's being unjust because she's now brought it right to his face and been like, yo, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is analogous to creation, right? Because this is why, God is perfect and this is human beings do this kind of shit.
Right.
So when we want, it's the Faustian metaphor, that we want. C.S. Lewis said that Faust was not after knowledge or wisdom; it was actually just sensation and power.
Sure.
Because that's sort of endless for him, and it mimics some sort of godlike thing that human beings, like from the beginning, think. And this is the guy. This is an avatar for the way human beings tend to act in power.
Yeah.
So.
And, God is the source of all that is good. And when he says it, everybody laughs because it's like so obviously not true. And that is the role that he is in with these creatures. And his own human weakness and fallen nature is really coming out here. And it's like he doesn't even see these things as living creatures. They're just objects to please him, like he said. And he's really, you can tell by now, he's really getting into the pride of being a god,
Shade and Woe is like Gog and Magog or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Similar. And also, too, like, he's so boorish, She's like, no, like, if you just feed them well and be a good, beneficent god, like, they will war. Like, they're just like humans. They will find reasons to kill each other, but it'll be subtle and it'll be, interesting. And he's like, nah, I just want to see the blood, dude. It's like, all my balls
war can be virtuous,
oh, yeah.
And when is it who is it that God orders to go to war and wipe out the tribe? And then
the Old Testament. You're talking about the.
I forget who that is.
Yeah, it's the one that Israel always calls the Palestinians, right? What the hell? Amalek. Amalek.
Yeah. And when he doesn't do that because he thinks, oh no, I can get away, and we need to give him something. Well, he wasn't. God didn't tell him to do that. He ordered him to do a specific thing, and then he gets punished for it. And so there are reasons for this. But this guy, as a sort of curtsy and...
He's just like a dude watching cage fighting or something. He just wants to see violence for entertainment's sake, but he's not. He's not taking into account the fact that this is life or death for an intelligent race of creatures.
You know what he is? He's Calvin Candy, Mississippi, right? Come on in. I got some entertainment for you, and then you know what happens. Prepare a bed for this man in the house.
And now that he's got an audience, dude, he's going to get a lot more blood, not just bloodthirsty, but cruel. You know this. He's going to have to. It's like an addiction. He's going to have to keep upping it and upping it and upping it.
It's a Nero impulse.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the next few months, Kress and about a dozen of his favorites got together weekly for what he liked to call his war games.
Nice.
Now that his initial fascination with the Sandkings was past, Kress spent less time around his tank and more on his business affairs and his social life. But he still enjoyed having a few friends over for a war or two. He kept the combatants sharp on a constant edge of hunger. It had severe effects on the orange Sandkings, who dwindled visibly until Kress began to wonder if their maw was dead. But the others did well enough. Sometimes at night, when he could not sleep, Kress would take a bottle of wine into the darkened living room, where the red gloom of his miniature desert was the only light. He would drink and watch for hours alone. There was usually a fight going on somewhere, and when there was not, he could easily start one by dropping in some small morsel of food. They took to betting on the weekly battles, as Maleda Blaine had suggested. Kress won a good amount by betting on the Whites, who had become the most powerful and numerous colony in the tank, with the grandest castle. One week, he slid the corner of the tank top aside and dropped the food close to the White Castle instead of on the central battleground as usual, so that the others had to attack the Whites in their stronghold to get any food at all. They tried. The Whites were brilliant in defense. Kress won 100 standards from Jad Rakis.
You know what the etymology of maw, by the way, they kind of explained at the beginning, is the
mouth. It's like gaping mouth.
Yeah, and stomach. But you know what the word is in Old English? MAGA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And Shakespeare mentions that the creeping maw. Mm-hmm. What's the etymology of cress, you guys? Hey, in the chat, what is it?
That I don't know. Let's see if anyone can guess it here. Let us know if we got any fast boys in the chat. Slow boy over here, I have no freaking clue. What does Moldy say here? Moldy said Jerry, Jim Bob, and BLA should do a review. God is a Man of War by Father DeYoung would probably be a dope stream. That's actually, that would be fun. Is there little burgers at the White Castle? Dun-dun.
Nice. Is there? What was I going to say? Have you read that fantasy? What's the story about? I have no mouth and I can't scream.
I have no mouth and I must scream. And is that Philip K. Dick or is that no? That's somebody else. But that's I am or whatever or am. I've read it. I forget who wrote it, but yes, I read it. What about it?
Isn't that the basis for another game?
Yeah, there's a video game based on it. It was an old point-and-click adventure game, though. There is an actual I have no mouth and I must scream video game that was like in the 90s. It came out. It's like a point-and-click.
Isn't that also one of the inspirations for what's the game? The New Vegas game.
Fallout.
Yeah, Fallout. There's something. Fallout took something from that.
There's probably references to it because Fallout does that a lot. They reference a bunch of stuff. Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great story though. That's another one we could actually we could read on the stream sometime. I've been thinking of different stories I could do, and that's definitely a good one.
Good title.
Oh yeah, it's great. All right, Rakis in fact lost heavily on the Sandkings almost every week. He pretended to have vast knowledge of them and their ways, claiming that he had studied them after the first party. But he had no luck when it came to placing his bets. Kress suspected that Jad's claims were empty boasting. He had tried to study the Sandkings a bit himself, in a moment of idle curiosity, tying into the library to find out to what world his pets were native. But there was no listing for them. He wanted to get in touch with Woe and ask her about it, but he had other concerns, and the matter kept slipping his mind. Finally, after a month in which his losses totaled more than 1,000 standards, Jad Rakis arrived at the War Games carrying a small plastic case under his arm. Inside was a spider-like thing, covered with fine golden hair.
Oh, no.
Oh
Well, first of
yeah.
all, Jad Rackus is Arrakis. There's always Arrakis in these stories.
Yeah. Like
Right.
like Dune,
Yeah.
Arrakis. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can do Jad here.
A sand spider, Rackus announced. From Cathaday. I got it this afternoon from Tietherin the pet seller. Usually they remove the poison sacs, but this one is intact. Are you game, Simon? I want my money back. I'll bet 1,000 standards. Sand Spider against Sandkings.
Damn, dude. Yeah, this ain't a good idea, bro. Crest studied the spider in its plastic prison. His Sand Kings had grown. They were twice as large as Woe's as she'd predicted. But they were still dwarfed by this thing. It was venomed, and they were not. Still, there were an awful lot of them. Besides, the endless Sand King wars had begun to grow tiresome lately. The novelty of the match intrigued him. Done, Crest said. Jad, you are a fool. The Sand Kings will just keep coming until this ugly creature of yours is dead.
You are the fool, Simon, Rackus replied, smiling. The Cathadane sand spider customarily feeds on burrowers that hide in nooks and crevices, and, well, watch, it will go straight into those castles and eat the maws. He's a real pervert.
Yo, that's a great voice to do it. That's awesome. Crest scowled amid general laughter. He hadn't counted on that. Get on with it, he said irritably. He went to freshen his drink. The spider was too large to cycle conveniently through the food chamber. Two of the others had helped Rackus slide the tank top slightly open to one side, and Mileda Blaine handed him up his case. He shook the spider out. It landed lightly on a miniature dune in front of the red castle, and stood confused for a moment, mouth working, legs twitching menacingly.
Come on, Rackus urged. They all gathered around the tank. Simon Crest found his magnifiers and slipped them on. If he was going to lose 1,000 standards, at least he wanted a good view of the action.
The Sand Kings had seen the invader. All over the castle, activities had ceased. The small scarlet mobiles were frozen, watching. The spider began to move toward the dark promise of the gate. On the tower above, Simon Crest's countenance stared down impassively. At once there was a flurry of activity. The nearest red mobiles formed themselves into two wedges and streamed over the sand towards the spider. More warriors erupted from inside the castle and assembled in a triple line to guard the approach to the underground chamber where the maw lived. Scouts came scuttling over the dunes, recalled to fight, and battle was joined. The attacking Sand Kings washed over the spider. Mandibles snapped shut on legs and abdomen and clung. Reds raced up the golden legs to the invader's back. They bit and tore. One of them found an eye and ripped it loose with tiny yellow tendrils. Crest smiled and pointed. But they were small, and they had no venom, and the spider did not stop. Its legs flicked Sand Kings off to either side. Its dripping jaws found others and left them broken and stiffening. Already a dozen of the Reds lay dying. The sand spider came on and on. It strode straight through the triple line of guardians before the castle. The lines closed around it, covered it, waging desperate battle. A team of Sand Kings had bitten off one of the spider's legs, Crest saw. Defenders leaped from atop the towers to land on the twitching, heaving mass. Lost beneath the Sand Kings, the spider somehow lurched down into the darkness and vanished. Jad Rackus let out a long breath. He looked pale. Wonderful, someone else said. Mileda Blaine chuckled deep in her throat.
Look, said Edie Noridian, tugging Crest by the arm.
They had been so intent on the struggle in the corner that none of them had noticed the activity elsewhere in the tank. But now the castle was still, the sands empty save for dead red mobiles, and now they saw. 3 armies were drawn up before the red castle. They stood quite still in perfect array, rank after rank of Sand Kings, orange and white and black, waiting to see what emerged from the depths. Yo, this is the Ronald Reagan speech, dude. Imagine what we could do if there was an outside invader.
There definitely was a missile, and something definitely got packed.
Yo, dude. Oh my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
This is also Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also Shelob. Right.
Shelob from Lord of the Rings,
right?
or Hobbit.
Yeah. And it is weird that the spider always makes an appearance in a lot of these stories. I mean, it's in Blade Runner, it's in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, it's in this. I guess it's probably it's kind of a spider creature in Arrival. Also, that alien movie, a squid spider. Yep. I guess the terror of the thing and the multiple legs. What does that represent? The spider octopus globalist system.
Sure, yeah, an outside thing, a different race even. It's a reptilian. Yeah. The reptilians. Yo, Marilyn, I'm just going to quickly say, Marilyn, we love having you here, but you can't blaspheme in the chat. I get that this is a religious adjacent story, and so it's sort of like tempting her to be a dumb hoe, but please don't do that. Okay, we enjoy having you here, but none of that.
Yeah, and then of course, the mobiles and everything, it's like they're forming Roman phalanxes. It's Alexandrian. I need to know the payoff of the story. So
absolutely. Cool. All right. Where are we at here? Hang on.
Gordon.
But here we go. Yep. Simon Crest smiled. A cordon sanitaire, he said, and glance at the other castles, if you will, Jad. Rackus did, and swore. Teams of mobiles were sealing up the gates with sand and stone. If the spider somehow survived this encounter, it would find no easy entrance at the other castles.
I should have brought 4 spiders, Jad Rackus said. Still, I've won. My spider is down there right now eating your damned maw.
Crest did not reply. He waited. There was motion in the shadows. All at once, red mobiles began pouring out of the gate. They took their positions on the castle and began repairing the damage the spider had wrought. The other armies dissolved and began to retreat to their respective quarters. Jad, said Simon Crest, I think you are a bit confused about whom is eating who.
Who made who? Who made you? Yes. Uh-huh.
Dude.
So there's gonna be snakes now, I see.
Yo, Jad is like straight up getting his ass whipped every week, though, dude. Like literally, this guy is constantly loses money. He just keeps coming back.
Well, these two guys. I mean, it's like it's either D&D in space or it's this.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. These guys these are gamers. These are gamers in the distant future, I guess.
Yeah. Pestilent Fellow. If somebody gets timed out, YouTube automatically just removes all of their comments. It's that's not like somebody went through and deleted them all. It's just what happens when you get timed out. Anyways, all right. The following week, Rackus brought 4 slim silver snakes. The Sandkings dispatched them without much trouble. Next, he tried a large black bird. It ate more than 30 white mobiles, and its thrashing and blundering virtually destroyed their castle. But ultimately, its wings grew tired, and the Sandkings attacked in force wherever it had landed. After that, it was a case of insects. Armored beetles, not too unlike the Sandkings themselves, but stupid. An allied force of oranges and blacks broke their formation, divided them, and butchered them. Rackus began giving Crest promissory notes. It was around that time that Crest met Kath Mullane again. One evening, when he was dining in Asgard at his favorite restaurant, he stopped at her table briefly and told her about the war games, inviting her to join them. She flushed, then regained control of herself and grew icy.
Someone has to put a stop to you, Simon. I guess it's going to be me, she said. She's Southern.
Yeah, okay.
Crest shrugged and enjoyed a lovely meal and thought no more about her threat.
Until a week later, when a small, stout woman arrived at his door and showed him a police wristband.
We've had complaints, she said. Do you keep a tank full of dangerous insects, Crest?
Not insects, he said, furious. Come on, I'll show you. When she had seen the Sandkings, she shook her head.
This will never do. What do you know about these creatures anyway? Do you know what world they're from? Have they been cleared by the Ecological Board? Do you have a license? Do you have a license for these things? We have a report that they're carnivores, possibly dangerous. We also have a report that they are semi-sentient. Where did you get these creatures anyway?
Dude, what is it about talking about animals that instantly turns you into Steve Irwin, dude? Or fucking a Crocodile Dundee?
Well, first it was sassy black woman because she shows up at the door.
Right.
We heard some complaints.
This won't do at all. From Woe and Shade, Cress replied.
Never heard of them, the woman said. Probably smuggling them in, and knowing our ecologists would never approve them. No, Cress, this won't do. I'm going to confiscate this tank and have it destroyed. And you're going to have to expect a few fines as well.
Cress offered her 100 standards to forget all about him and his Sandkings. She tisked.
Now I have to add attempted bribery to the charges against you.
Not until he raised the finger to 2,000 standards was she willing to be persuaded.
It's not going to be easy, you know, she said. There are forms to be altered, records to be wiped, and getting a forged license for the ecologist will be time-consuming. Not to mention dealing with the complainant. What if she calls again?
Leave her to me, Cress said. Leave her to me. What do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to start feeding people to these creatures.
Now we're really going to get into Little Shop of Horrors territory.
Yeah,
dude.
he finds it sexual and violent.
Yeah, oh yeah. You know that's where this is going. He's got it.
Yeah.
He's got to at some point start feeding people to these things.
Yeah.
All right. He thought about it for a while. That night he made some calls. First he got to Etherain. We got to figure out how to pronounce this. First he got to Etherain, the pet seller. I want to buy a dog, he said, a puppy. The round-faced, the round-faced merchant gawked at him.
A puppy? That is not like you, Simon. Why don't you come in? I have a lovely choice.
I want a very specific kind of puppy. Take notes. I'll describe to you what it must look like. Afterwards, he punched for a Edie Noredian. Edie, he said, I want you out here tonight with your hollow equipment. I have a notion to record a Sand King battle. A present for one of my friends. The night after they made the recording, Simon Cress stayed up late. He absorbed a controversial new drama in his sensorium, fixed himself a small snack, smoked a joystick or two, and broke out a bottle of wine. Dude, that is the most cringe thing in this story.
Very, very boomer.
It's so boomer, dude. It's so
he's
cringe.
Like, he's with his friends. He's like, do you guys get it?
A joystick? You get it?
Yeah, they're like, is it kind of like a tie stick, but it makes you feel joy because it's weed?
Right.
And he's like, exactly.
I'm really digging this story, but every time I have to read that line, I just want to say spliff or something. Like, it's just like, come on, dude. This is so
the sensorium reminds me of a Brave New World, right? And
yeah. No, I was going to say that earlier. There is some a little bit of Brave New World vibes to this, just general dystopian vibes.
Yeah, the creatures who like do the work are like the what are they? They're the Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta. They're the Epsilons, the class of people who are like they're born in tubes to like fix rockets. In mid-air flight. They're like little dwarf creatures or whatever.
Yep, Pestilent Fellow. So we do super chats. This channel is purposefully not monetized. So if you want to support the channel, you can send all super chats via Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo, and all super chats will be read live. So thank you so much for the, for wanting to. And I know some people can't, but the mods are posting the links in the chat, and also you can find it as a pinned comment in the chat and in the description.
And please support our buddy here because he's trying to get a ticket, an expensive ticket, to come down and come to my wedding. So please support him.
Yes, please. And thank you to everybody that does that. Okay, so anything else to say before we get back?
I don't think so. Some of the names are starting to be kind of Anglo-Saxon. There's I don't know how he comes up with these names because it sounds again like Brian in that episode of Family Guy. It's like he's just throws them out there, which is
Iddy no Redian. Iddy no Redian. Like what? Like it sounds like he just jumbled a bunch of letters together.
Yeah, he was like, what sounds like Jabba, right? Jabba no Wookie Mila Kunis.
Yeah. The night after they made the recording, Simon Cress stayed up late. He absorbed a controversial new drama in his sensorium, fixed himself a small stack, and smoked a spliff or two, and broke out a bottle of wine. Feeling very happy with himself, he wandered into the living room, glass in hand.
I like how they just have wine.
Right?
Everything else is different, but they still have wine.
Yeah, they can't have weed, but they have wine, though. Like, come on, I think somebody probably would have imported weed from the planet Earth. And unless joysticks are just way better, Yeah.
Right.
Yep. All right, the lights were out. The red glow of the terrarium made the shadows flushed and feverish. He walked over to look at his domain, curious as to how the blacks were doing in the repairs on their castle. The puppy had left it in ruins. The restoration went well. But as Cress inspected the work through his magnifiers, he chanced to glance closely at the face. It startled him. He drew back, blinked, and took a healthy gulp of wine, and looked again. The face on the walls was still his, but it was all wrong, all twisted. His cheeks were bloated and piggish. His smile was a crooked leer. He looked impossibly malevolent. Yo, this is Dorian Gray, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Uneasy, he moved around the tank to inspect the other castles. They were each a bit different, but ultimately all the same. The oranges had left out most of the fine detail, but the result still seemed monstrous, crude, a brutal mouth and mindless eyes. The reds gave him a satanic, twitching kind of smile. His mouth did odd, unlovely things at his corners. The whites, his favorites, had carved a cruel idiot god. Simon Cress flung his wine across the room in rage. "You dare?" he said under his breath. "Now you won't eat for a week, you damned." His voice was shrill. "I'll teach you." He had an idea. He strode out of the room and returned a moment later with an antique iron throwing sword in his hand. It was a meter long, and the point was still sharp. Cress smiled, climbed up, and moved the tank cover aside just enough to give him working room, opening one corner of the desert. He leaned down and jabbed the sword at the White Castle below him. He waved it back and forth, smashing towers and ramparts and walls. Sand and stone collapsed, burying the scrambling mobiles. A flick of his wrist obliterated the features of the insolent, insulting caricature the Sandkings had made of his face. Then he poised the point of the sword above the dark mouth that opened down into the Maw's chamber and thrust with all his strength. He heard a soft, squishing sound and met resistance. All of the mobiles trembled and collapsed. Satisfied, Cress pulled back.
Oh, no, that's not good. And also, they're making graven images. And what he does here, isn't that one of the tarot cards, the tower?
The tower, yeah.
I think in the tower, there's a sword. One of them, there's
it's a lightning. It's a lightning bolt coming down and hitting the tower.
Yeah, so that's what he's doing here. And they're making graven images of him because, you know, his own shade is appearing. You know, this is like, there's a part in Julius Caesar where Cassius asked Brutus, like, "Hey, can you see yourself?" And Brutus says, like, "No." And he's like, "You can't. Human beings can never see themselves except through a mirror darkly.
Yeah,
we can't ever see our own face. You know, you can't do it. So the way you appear is that you think you appear is different, and this is his true self, I suppose.
Absolutely,
very, very Freudian and deep. No, but it is really good.
That's what's so scary about the Last Judgment. You know, it's like a common Orthodox thing. Is like, in the Last Judgment, you will meet a stranger to you, which is yourself. You know, you will see yourself clearly for the first time. And it's sort of like we were talking about in the beginning of the stream about how 99% of our lives we just forget. Like all of these little moments in our life, like, you know, 5 years back, I watch a part of an old stream I did, and it's like I don't remember half of it. Like I remember being there and doing it, but like what did I say?
Yeah, I remember being baptized.
Yeah, I remember being baptized, but you know, a lot of like the little you'll go back and see an old comment you made on a video, and you're like, I don't remember saying this, and this almost feels like a different person entirely. So it's just, absolutely, humans.
Well, you
don't know themselves.
You don't have hyperthymesia, so you don't remember every single day of your life and every moment.
I don't even have like regular thymesia, bro. I have like fucking retardation syndrome. Yo, I gotta go grab a drink. You mind talking to the audience for a minute?
I'll take control of this thing.
All right.
Yo, what's up, chat? How are y'all doing? This is Jerry's channel, Exposing Powerful Lies, live streams. This is a good friend of mine. We're taking a little break for a second. Would you guys please, if you know, I know you guys are very generous. If you would, and if you could, and if you want to, would you please consider donating some cashola to this guy right here? Because I have an ulterior motive here. I want him to come down to my wedding here in the South, and he needs to get a bus or a train ticket, which, as you know, are very expensive because there are fentanyl zombies everywhere. And so they raise the price of the tickets, and you can't get on there without being beaten up by the train conductor, who is a sassy woman.
Maybe I could become a fentanyl zombie just for like the interim, so I can move in the horde, like you saw how they do in zombie movies where they cover themselves in blood and guts to like blend in with the crowd. Maybe I'll just douse myself in mud and just sort of shamble my way down there. Yeah, exactly.
Like Predator.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, bro. Okay.
That was quick. That was very fast, by the way.
Yes. Well, I just had to run through the door, grab a Coke, and come back. He watched for a moment, wondering whether he'd killed the Maw. The point of the throwing sword was wet and slimy. But finally, the white Sandkings began to move again. Feebly, slowly, but they moved. He was preparing to slide the cover back in place and move on to his second castle when he felt something crawling on his hand. Oh no, dude. You knew they were going to do something like this, bro. You know.
Yeah.
You can't just, like, this guy's so dumb. Okay. He screamed and dropped the sword and brushed the Sand King from his flesh. It fell to the carpet. Oh, God, bro. And he ground it beneath his heel. Okay. Crushing it thoroughly long after it was dead. It had crunched when he stepped on it. After that, trembling, he hurried to seal the tank. Up again, and rushed off to Yeah, right. How do you know that none of them got out?
Yeah.
And rushed off to shower and inspect himself carefully. He boiled his clothing. Later, after several fresh glasses of wine, he returned to the living room. He was a bit ashamed of the way the Sand Kings had terrified him, but he was not about to open the tank again. From now on, the cover stayed sealed permanently. Still, he had to punish the others. Crest decided to lubricate his mental processes with another glass of wine.
That's so lame.
Right?
Not the writing, I mean the character.
No, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
As he finished it, an inspiration came to him. He went to the tank smiling and made a few adjustments to the humidity controls. By the time he fell asleep on the couch, his wine glass still in his hand, the sandcastles were melting in the rain. What a dick.
Yeah.
Crest woke to angry pounding on his door. He sat up groggy, his head throbbing. Wine hangovers were always the worst, he thought. He lurched to the entry chamber. Kath Mullane was outside.
You monster, she said, her face swollen and puffy and streaked with tears. I cried all night, damn you. All night, but no more, Simon, no more.
Easy, he said, holding his head. I got a hangover. She swore and shoved him aside and pushed her way into his house. The shambler came peering round a corner to see what the noise was. She spat at it and stalked into the living room, Crest trailing ineffectually after her. Hold on, he said. Where do you... You can't. He stopped, suddenly horror-struck. She was carrying a heavy sledgehammer in her left hand. No, he said. She went directly to the Sand King tank. You like the little charmers so much, Simon? Then you can live with them. Kath! He shrieked, gripping the hammer with both hands. She swung as hard as she could against the side of the tank. The sound of the impact set his head to screaming, and Crest made a low, blubbering sound of despair. But the plastic held. She swung again. This time there was a crack, and a network of thin lines sprang into being. Crest threw himself at her as she drew back her hammer for a third swing. They went down flailing and rolled. She lost her grip on the hammer and tried to throttle him, but Crest wrenched free and bit her on the arm, drawing blood. They both staggered to their feet, panting.
You should see yourself, Simon, she said grimly, blood dripping from your mouth. You look like one of your pets. How do you like the taste?
Get out, he said. He saw the throwing sword where it had fallen the night before and snatched it up. Get out, he repeated, waving the sword for emphasis. Don't go near that tank again.
She laughed at him. You wouldn't dare, she said. She bent to pick up the hammer.
Crest shrieked at her and lunged. Before he quite knew what was happening, the iron blade had gone clear through her abdomen. Kath Mullane looked at him wonderingly and down at the sword. Crest fell back, whimpering. I didn't mean... I only wanted... She was transfixed, bleeding, dead, but somehow she did not fall.
You monster, she managed to say, though her mouth was full of blood.
And she whirled, impossibly, the sword in her, and swung with her last strength at the tank. The tortured wall shattered, and Kath Mullane was buried beneath an avalanche of plastic and sand and mud. Crest made small, hysterical noises and scrambled up on the couch. Sandkings were emerging from the muck on his living room floor. They were crawling across Kath's body. A few of them ventured tentatively out across the carpet. More followed. He watched as the column took shape. A living, writhing square of Sandkings, bearing something slimy and featureless, a piece of raw meat big as a man's head. They began to carry it away from the tank. It pulsed. That was when Crest broke and ran.
Oh, man.
Yo.
Dude, emerging from the evolutionary primordial muck here.
Right. Sort of like getting out of the womb.
Yeah, and they're breaking out of their prison, right? The prison planet.
Yep. And this is sort of like, you know those Oscar fish that you put it in a bigger tank, it grows bigger, and you put it in another bigger tank, it grows bigger, and you can get it. You can get one that's like this big, or you can have one that's like a frickin' giant thing, dude.
Ugh.
Yeah. We used to have one as a kid. We had an albino Oscar actually. Um, in the beginning, Jalo Wo tells him like, "Oh, get a bigger tank; they'll get bigger." What are they gonna be when the tank's the size of the fucking room, dude?
Yeah.
How big can these things get? Can they get to the size of a human?
It's going to be a Grendel. This is a Beowulf.
Moldy's not learning the lesson of this story at all. These things, like when he tried to do research, they weren't even on a list. They weren't even documented. This is some smuggled alien creature that nobody knows about. That is probably like the most dangerous freaking invasive species ever, dude. Like, get the heck out of here, bro. But yeah, I want one too.
Beowulf. There is an element of Beowulf in this because when they emerge and they're carrying her knees a crest broke and ran. They're carrying a big slab of meat, of human meat or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah?
That's Grendel going back to his lair because Beowulf initially breaks his arm off. And Grendel is described as coming from he's in the muck and he comes from Cain.
Yep.
So these are some sort of primordial demon creatures.
Yep.
But he's the real creature.
I have read Beowulf because Tolkien did a translation of Beowulf, and I have that. And that's the only Beowulf I've ever read is the Tolkien translation.
The reason that Beowulf is read in school, the reason it's known now is because...
I know, it's one of the only Middle English folklore. Old English. Yeah, it's one of the only folklore from that time period, and that's... Well, we're not going to get into that, but that's the whole Tolkien inspiration is the fact that there is no more folklore from that time period except for a few fragments.
There's one copy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the first work in English.
Yep, exactly. And that's crazy, too, like how Old English, Middle English, and Common English, it's like, I mean, they are two completely different languages. You're like, okay, this is Old English, really? Like, this is like...
Yeah. They were Vikings, it's Germanic.
Right.
So they were
exactly.
And by the way, Beowulf is the great English epic, and it's not set in England. It wasn't in English, and it's not written by an Englishman. It's not about an Englishman.
Right. Very ironic. Yeah. Jason says they're becoming Nephilim from the Nephilim blue John Connor fed them when nobody was looking. Yeah, exactly. This is definitely getting definitely getting kind of crazy here. I'm digging it. I hope you guys are digging it. Let me know in the chat what y'all think.
Good story.
Absolutely. It was late afternoon before he found the courage to return. Dude, never go back. Why the fuck would you? I would go immediately to Jalawo, and I would be like, yo, these things broke out. I need to get a contractor. We need to hermetically seal this building. Never let them out. Like, he's rich. Yeah. He can afford it.
Well, he wants death. He wants to merge with these things. He wants, some sort of annihilation. Right? So this is his...
He better hope his house is all sealed up, because if these things get out, there's no telling where you're never going to be able to contain them again. You're going to take over the whole planet.
I want them to crawl into my special places.
Yeah, they're like his gerbils,
He's Todd Chrisley.
Yeah, well, maybe he should have been a little nicer to them too, because now that they're out, they're going to exact revenge. It was late afternoon before he found the courage to return. He had run to his skimmer and flown to the nearest city, some 50 kilometers away, almost sick with fear. But once safely away, he had found a small restaurant, put down several mugs of coffee and 2 anti-hangover tabs, eaten a full breakfast, and gradually regained his composure. That's what I thought was similar to Brave New World, was the food, the futuristic alien-type food supplements and stuff. It's the weird, it's almost uncanny. It had been a dreadful morning, but dwelling on that would solve nothing. He ordered more coffee and considered his situation with icy rationality. Kath Mullane was dead at his hand. Could he report it? Plead that it had been an accident? Unlikely. He had run her through, after all. And he had already told that policer to leave him alone. Or to leave her to him. He would have to get rid of the evidence and hope that she had not told anyone where she was going this morning. That was probable. She could only have gotten his gifts late last night. Oh, so he sent her the tape of the Sandkings wearing. That's what it was.
Well, the fact that he made the tape in the first place is creepy.
Right. He's like, oh, you hate that I'm doing this? I'm going to rub it in your face,
Yeah.
She said that she had cried all night, and she had been alone when she arrived. Very well. He had one body and one skimmer to dispose of. That left the Sandkings. They might prove more of a difficulty. No doubt they had all escaped by now. The thought of them around his house, in his bed, in his clothes, infesting his food, It made his flesh crawl. He shuddered and overcame his revulsion. It really shouldn't be too hard to kill them, he reminded himself. He didn't have to account for every mobile, just the 4 maws, that was all. He could do that. They were large as he'd seen. He would find them and kill them. Simon, I'm gonna wait for this frickin' plane to pass over. How loud is it?
Tragedy. Yeah, reminds me of that tragedy.
Oh yeah, that one thing.
It shouldn't be hard to dispose of the body. They're
gonna eat it.
Yeah,
they're gonna eat that thing, dude. There's gonna be nothing left. But the problem is, he's like, yeah, I could just kill the maw. That's what they all do. They literally all day, every day, they're trying to kill each other's maw, and they're pretty good at defending that thing, dude.
Are they going to unite against him?
Maybe, but also now that they're out of the tank, they're gonna get big. They're gonna get big quick. So like, he's gonna be basically one Sand King versus a million armies of sand. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the thing.
Yeah, it's literally the thing. I mean, that's kind of how they describe it, as like a piece of raw meat. So that's what it makes me think of like a slimy thing-like creature, you know?
Squanchy and squishy.
Yeah. Okay, so he could do that. They were large as he'd seen. He would find them and kill them. Simon Kress went shopping before he flew back to his house. He bought a set of skin thins that would cover him from head to foot, several bags of poison pellets for rockjaw control, and a spray canister of illegally strong pesticide. He also bought a Magnalock towing device. When he landed, he went about things methodically. First, he hooked Kath's skimmer to his own with the Magnalock. Searching it, he had his first piece of luck. The crystal chip with Ida Noredian's hollow of the Sand King fight was on the front seat. He had worried about that. When the skimmers were ready, he slipped into his skin thins and went inside for Kath's body. It wasn't there. He poked through the fast-drying sand carefully, but there was no doubt of it. The body was gone. Could she have dragged herself away? Unlikely, but Kress searched. A cursory inspection of his house turned up neither the body nor any sign of the Sand Kings. He did not have time for a more thorough investigation, not with the incriminating skimmer outside his front door. He resolved to try it later. Some 70 kilometers north of Kress's estate was a range of active volcanoes. He flew there, Kath's skimmer in tow, above the glowering cone of the largest. He released the Magnalock and watched it vanish in the lava below. It was dusk when he returned to his house. That gave him pause. Briefly, he considered flying back to the city and spending the night there. He put the thought aside. There was work to do. He wasn't safe yet. He scattered the poison pellets around the exterior of his house. No one would find that suspicious. He'd always had a rockjock problem. When that task was complete, he primed the canister of pesticide and ventured back inside.
Buddy, listen, I'm the critter man, and you got some rocks in your jocks.
You got some bugs, buddy. It's like that fucking what's that movie? Men in Black. Vincent D'Onofrio. It's like the Bug Man.
It's like William Burroughs, the Exterminator.
Naked Lunch. Yeah,
That's
the
right.
Exterminator. Naked Lunch. Hell yeah.
Right.
All right. He scattered the Kress went through the house room by room, turning on lights everywhere he went until he was surrounded by a blaze of artificial illumination. He paused to clean up in the living room, shoveling sand and plastic fragments back into the broken tank. The Sand Kings were all gone, as he'd feared. The castles were shrunken and distorted, slagged by the watery bombardment Kress had visited upon them, and what little remained was crumbling as it dried. He frowned and searched on, the canister of pest spray strapped across his shoulders. Down in his deepest wine cellar, he came upon Kath Mullane's corpse. It sprawled at the foot of a steep flight of stairs, the limbs twisted as if by a fall. White mobiles were swarming all over it, and as Kress watched, the body moved jerkily across the hard-packed dirt floor. He laughed and twisted the illumination up to maximum. In the far corner, a squat little earthen castle and a dark hole were visible between 2 wine racks. Kress could make out a rough outline of his face on the cellar wall. The body shifted once again, moving a few centimeters towards the castle. Kress had a sudden vision of the white maw waiting hungrily. It might be able to get Kath's foot in its mouth, but no more. It was too absurd. He laughed again and started down into the cellar, finger poised on the trigger of the hose that snaked down his right arm. The Sandkings, hundreds of them moving as one, deserted the body and formed up battle lines, a field of white between him and their maw. Suddenly, Cress had another inspiration. He smiled and lowered his firing hand. Kath was always hard to swallow, he said, delighted at his wit. Especially for one your size. Here, let me give you some help. What are gods for, after all? He retreated upstairs, returning shortly with a cleaver. The Sand Kings, patient, waited and watched while Crest chopped Kath Mullanes into small, easily digestible pieces.
This is good. This is evolving. The story's evolving because it could have ended a long time ago with a sort of simple story about alien creatures, but it keeps on going. It's turning him into a Bundy character, or a what's the guy's name? The clown. What's the clown's name?
Gacy. Yeah. He's bargaining now with them. He knows he's screwed. He's like, I can't beat these guys. And how cool is it that they literally, because they're burrowers, went into his basement. And now it's the same thing in the tank, but it's like way bigger now. It's increased in scale by so much, Oh my gosh. Now I think we're coming to a part in the story where there's probably going to be less dialogue. If you want to read, like we can take turns reading. It's up to you. Like I don't know. Some people are more comfortable. I love to read out loud. I don't know so it's up to you, but if you're just sitting here like, oh, I want more to do, like
I like you reading because I have to do this for a living, so I like you reading. Also, then I can pretend that I can read.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, but he's a really good reader.
I'm going to take a break to go to the TT room, whichever you prefer. Jesus.
Yeah, take a break, dude.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Well, this will give me a chance to go through the chat, dude. I've been freaking slacking. Very hard to read the chat when I'm on a completely different tab off of StreamYards. I live down the street from that Taylor Shaw business event. Don't know what you're talking about. Chicken paste, probably much cheaper than chicken. If they remove the chance of salmonella, more people would buy it. What are y'all talking about, dog? Pogo was Gacy clown name. That was his. Oh, ew, dude. Oh my goodness, y'all. Did y'all see that RFK Jr. The what is that? Health and Human Services officially recommended that the ethyl mercury get taken out of the flu vaccines. Yo, that's a win. Okay, I think we can all be happy about that. That's pretty great. We were all right. Okay, all of us crazy conspiracy theorists vindicated right again. Let me gloat a little bit. We were right. Karens were wrong. Take that. Y'all know that guy in shorts who always says bussin' or disgustin' and eats prison food and insane candy combos? He tried the nugget paste. Okay, that's what y'all are talking about. What the hell, dude? I've never actually seen that guy. I've recently been getting this dude pop up on my recommended videos who's constantly showing prison food and like how to make prison food. It's pretty disgusting. All right, Man Flash. We got. If I was alive in the 2001 Space Odyssey world and had to eat colored paste squares, I'd die of starvation. Is this a metaphor for AI? I'm having a hard time sort of connecting those two. A metaphor for AI. I mean, in a sense that it's like but it's not his creation though. He's serving as the god, but it's really not his creation. But I suppose in a sense, like the thing that you're overseeing, and in a sense, at least acting as the creator, sort of growing out of control and attacking. I think that's just like a universal story that I think, yeah, you could draw parallels to AI, but you could draw parallels to a lot of things like that. Absolutely, dude. I was so happy to get BLA on here, and honestly, I just thought it was a perfect guest for this stream. And let me know if you guys want to see more of this. Just like the radio streams, I know this is not everybody's cup of tea to like listen to reading and stuff, but I love this kind of stuff. It's more interactive than the radio. So if you guys dig the format, like I will definitely be doing more of these. And I think what's cool about this is that I could do this myself, but it's also good with guests because it's just better to have somebody else to like bounce off of and read certain parts. It's better to break it up. So there's something we could do a lot with this format. So if you like it, definitely leave a comment afterwards and let me know what y'all think. And we'll definitely. I have more stories to bring up. This one's very long. It's 15 pages, which is not long to read, but reading it out loud like this, it's a little bit longer than some of the other shorter stories that I got. All right, you back? You on the phone, son?
Yo, I'm here.
Yeah, what up? All right, let's go. Let's
Oh,
get it.
real quick, after this, I'll be on Boiler Room with Boiler Room crew. That's Hesher, Ruckus, everybody, Spore. So check out
Nice.
Alternate Current Radio on YouTube and at the website.
Hell yeah, dude. Shouts out Boiler Room. Shouts out Hesher. All right. Simon Crest slept in his skin thins that night, the pesticide close at hand, but he did not need it. The whites, sated, remained in the cellar, and he saw no sign of the others. In the morning, he finished the cleanup of the living room. After he was through, no trace of the struggle remained, except for the broken tank. He ate a light lunch and resumed his hunt for the missing Sandkings. In full daylight, it was not too difficult. The blacks had located in his rock garden and built a castle heavy with obsidian and quartz. The reds he found at the bottom of his long disused swimming pool, which had partially filled with wind-blown sand over the years. He saw mobiles of both colors ranging about his grounds, many of them carrying poison pellets back to their maws. Crest decided his pesticide was unnecessary. No use risking a fight when he could just let the poison do its work. Both maws should be dead by evening. That left only the burnt orange Sandkings unaccounted for. Crest circled his estate several times, in ever-widening spirals, but found no trace of them. When he began to sweat in his skin thins, it was a hot, dry day, he decided it was not important. If they were out here, they were probably eating the poison pellets along with the reds and blacks. He crunched several Sandkings underfoot with a certain degree of satisfaction as he walked back to the house. Inside, he removed his skin thin, settled down to a delicious meal, and finally began to relax. What's up? Just laughing about the plane?
Yes.
All right. Everything was under control. Yeah, oh yeah, everything's under control. You have no idea where one army is, but everything's good. 2 of the maws would soon be defunct. The third was safely located where he could dispose of it after he had served his purposes, and he had no doubt that he would find the 4th. As for Kath, all trace of her visit had been obliterated. His reverie was interrupted when his view screen began to blink at him.
It's his reverie.
Right.
Right. He's some sort of like chaotic. He's like a titan or something.
He's loving this, dude.
A god of chaos for these things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's loving it.
Circles, spirals.
He doesn't love the danger that he's in now, but he's definitely loving just the whole relationship he's forming with these creatures.
Well, even the uncertainty. I mean, the sort of chaos of uncertainty, like not knowing what's going to happen, gives him a variable that he didn't have before, because he had a controlled environment before, and now he's like I feel like he's kind of learning how to practice being some sort of true god.
Oh yeah,
must be going through his head here, like Kurtz.
Right. Oh yeah, very very true. It was Jad Rackus calling to brag about some cannibal worms he was bringing to the war games tonight. Crest had forgotten about that, but he recovered quickly. Oh, Jad, my pardons. I neglected to tell you. I grew bored with all that and got rid of the Sandkings. Ugly little things, sorry, but there'll be no party tonight. Rackus was indignant.
Shai Haloob! Shai Haloob! When was this written? When was this published?
I think this was 70s. Let me. It was okay. So what I remember is that this was published in a collection of short stories that Martin had published called Nightwings. Was it called Nightwings? Something like that. I believe that. I'm going off of memory from 13 years ago. I would imagine probably 80s.
I like how there are these small publications of these types of stories. Because you talked about it with Lovecraft, and how he was published, and there are these like little groups of people who are they're really into this, and these things, they don't really exist anymore, except we have the internet.
Yeah.
But there were whole bookstores for this stuff, and I just think that's like it's so cool. And then you get this guy who just published this little short story, and then he went on to make all this stuff.
Well, he literally published a book of short stories, and it was all his horror. And that, I think, was the only horror he ever wrote, was this little paperback called, like, Nightwings or something. And this was one of the stories in there. And when I read this, I was so mad because, like, you go to a Barnes & Noble, and they have an entire shelf of George R.R. Martin, and it's literally all Game of Thrones and shit like that. And I'm like, dude, this story is so good. Like, write more of this. Like, why is Game of Thrones the thing that gets popular, dude?
Well, Barnes & Noble, I mean, I mean, I love books, obviously, and I don't even go to bookstores anymore, even used bookstores, because this is part of that aesthetic terror thing, the war on beauty, where even the quality of the book, when you go to Barnes and Noble, it's like they have their own publishing thing.
Yeah.
And the pages are plastic and the books, like, they look like they'll wear out quickly.
Right.
You know, and everything's just going away. I mean, because these things were published cheaply in paperback.
Right.
But they were purposeful like that. That's all they could afford for it. And now things are cheap in a way that's like synthetic, and you can't even get them anymore. So
that's a big reveal. You don't even go to used bookstores anymore. I love that. I love when you find a bookstore. It's like somebody's house. It's just their shelves. I love that
because used bookstores now, like 90% of them are like political hubs. They all have, you know, just look in the front window. I mean, they're you know, that's what they do now, especially since the Karanka.
Yeah.
Like, like if you go to Charlottesville, you know, then you'll see some stuff. But they also have bookstores like with old men, like that are wizards, and like you got to kind of make your way through it, and those are good.
Oh yeah, those are awesome.
You know, they're rare.
Yo, what up, Jimmy? Good to see you, man. Glad you finally caught alive. And yeah, dude, the Funko Pop EPL thing is coming out right soon. Yo, Henley, did you see my boomer Zippo? I got my Don't Tread on Me Boomer Libertarian Zippo.
Hell yeah, dude.
You still got that Zippo I gave you?
Of course.
Okay, I lose Zippos all the time, so I was like, it's a 50-50 shot. Either he lost.
Well, I've got a collection of like Vietnam Zippos that I got at gun shows. Hell 364, Death from Above, and shit.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going with this. Thank you all so much for being here. Please like and share. And remember, if you want to support the show, I will read all super chats live. So bring it on in. All right. So yeah, this one's you now. But what will I do with my worms?
I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Put them in a basket of fruit and send them to a loved one. Oh no, that's you. Sorry. Okay. What will I do with my worms?
And that's a great line. That's a great line. What will I do with my worms?
My worms. My worms. What will I do with my worms?
I want to open up a worm farm and call it "I Got Worms." All right. Put them in a basket of fruit and send them to a loved one. Cress said, signing off. Quickly, he began calling the others. He did not need anyone arriving at his doorstep now, with the Sandkings alive and infesting the estate. As he was calling Ida Neredian, Cress became aware of an annoying oversight. The screen began to clear, indicating that someone had answered at the other end. Cress flicked off. Idie arrived on schedule an hour later. She was surprised to find the party canceled, but perfectly happy to share an evening alone with Cress. He delighted her with his story of Kath's reaction to the hollow they had made together. While telling it, he managed to ascertain that she had not mentioned the prank to anyone. He nodded, satisfied, and refilled their wine glasses. Only a trickle was left. "I'll get a fresh bottle," he said. "Come with me to my wine cellar." Oh, yeah. "Come with me to my wine cellar and help me pick out a good vintage. Okay, you've always had a better palate than I." Yeah, this is very Poe, dude.
This is Cask of Amontillado.
Yo, did you know we just listened to that the last stream, dude?
I saw that, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's very apropos. Literally apropos.
One of the archetypal Masonic short stories.
And that's what I was unfortunately disappointed with the radio version of it, was they left out the Freemason line in there. Oh, are you a Mason? Show me a sign. I know. Well. They
left it out.
They left it out. There was no mention of the "Are you a Mason?" No, or where he says he's a Mason. He goes, "Show me a sign," and he pulls out the trowel.
That's the whole point of the story.
I know. Well, I mean, he still buries them in the wall, but they don't have that exchange of words. You know,
that's weird.
I know, it's frustrating.
They should have Vincent Price in there doing the lines.
Oh yeah, Vincent Price has his own radio show called The Price of Fear. We've listened to it a few times. It's awesome.
My great grandmother met him.
What?
He's like, how droll. A distinguished lady.
How gay. That is not based at all.
What's that? I saw a clip of him recently, and it was like Michael Jackson or something. He walks away and he goes, "Bullshit."
Oh, yeah. All right, anyways. Where are we? So he's bringing this hussy down to the basement with him. That's not good. "You've always had a better palate than I." She came along willingly enough, but balked at the top of the stairs when Cress opened the door and gestured for her to precede him.
Where are the lights? She said. And that smell. What's that peculiar smell, Simon?
When he shoved her, she looked briefly startled. She screamed as she tumbled down the stairs. Cress closed the door and began to nail it shut with boards and an air hammer he had left for that purpose. As he was finishing, he heard Idy groan.
I'm hurt, she called. Simon, what is this? Suddenly she squealed, and shortly after that the screaming started.
It did not cease for hours. Cress went to his sensorium and dialed up a saucy comedy to blot it out of his mind. Yo, he's literally watching Dumb and Dumber while she's screaming in his basement, dude.
Ow!
That's an average Tuesday for me, though, you know. Just sitting there watching fucking Spaceballs with the screams of your
This is
victim.
Misery.
Yeah.
She does this in Misery. You've been a dirty birdie, Mr. Man.
Mr. Man. Yeah. Okay. When he was sure she was dead, Cress flew her skimmer north to the volcanoes and discarded it. The Magnalock was proving a good investment. Well, gee, I'm glad this alien planet doesn't have radar or anybody, controlling the airspace. Like, you just fly your fucking car anywhere.
Yeah, they have FaceTime, and they've got, like Ewok skimmers and rocket ships, but they don't have GPS. He couldn't predict that one.
Right, yeah. No GPS. Police.
I dumped her in a volcano. It was sexy.
I dumped her car into a volcano, and then a day later, I dumped another car into a volcano. Nobody's paying attention. No geologists are studying the volcano. That's
a great place, though, to dispose of,
Oh, yeah.
You think like Hawaii has ever had a psychotic serial killer who used a volcano as his dumping ground?
I mean, he would have to own his own helicopter and like winch and hook to like hang shit off the helicopter, so probably not. But
I don't know. I mean, those Samoans, they can probably haul a person.
You can't just stand at the top of a volcano, bro. That shit would burn you up.
Joe versus the volcano.
Never seen it.
What? With Thomas Hanks?
Don't call him that, bro. Yo, all right. The Magnalock was proving a good investment. Odd scrambling noises were coming from beyond the wine cellar door the next morning when Cress went down to check it out. He listened for several uneasy moments, wondering if Idy Noredian could possibly have survived, and was now scratching to get out. It seemed unlikely. It had to be the Sandkings. Cress did not like the implications of that. He decided that he would keep the door sealed, at least for the moment. Yeah, well, yeah, the fact that they're getting big as frick now, dude. He decided he would keep it sealed, at least for the moment, and went outside with a shovel to bury the red and black maws in their own castles. He found them very much alive.
Let me take this part.
Yep.
The black castle was glittering with volcanic glass, and Sandkings were all over it, repairing and improving. The highest tower was up to his waist, and on it was a hideous caricature of his face. When he approached, the blacks halted in their labors and formed up into two threatening phalanxes. Cress glanced behind him and saw others closing off his escape. Startled, he dropped the shovel and sprinted out of the trap, crushing several mobiles beneath his boots. The red castle was creeping up the walls of the swimming pool. The mall was safely settled in a pit, surrounded by sand and concrete and battlements. Oh, yeah, Macbeth, the battlements. Mm-hmm. The reds crept all over the bottom of the pool. Cress watched them carry a rock jock and a large lizard into the castle. He stepped back from the poolside, horrified, and felt something crunch. Looking down, he saw three mobiles climbing up his leg. He brushed them off, and stamped them to death, but others were approaching quickly. They were larger than he remembered. Some were almost as big as his thumb. He ran. By the time he reached the safety of the house, his heart was racing, and he was short of breath. The door closed behind him, and Cress hurried to lock it. His house was supposed to be pest-proof. He'd be safe in here. A stiff drink. Oh, my God. Again with the drinks. A stiff drink steadied his nerve. So poison doesn't faze them, he thought. He should have known. I forgot about her. Right. Woe had warned him that the mall could eat anything. He would have to use the pesticide. Cress took another drink for good measure, donned his skin thins, and strapped the canister to his back. He unlocked the door. When I hear skin thins, I think of what was Kim Kardashian?
Mints? Oh, I was thinking of Thin Mints when I hear that.
I was thinking of Ye complaining about Kim Kardashian's company. What was that
They
called?
took my kids, huh?
Yeah.
They
I'm
took my
not going to
kids from
say
me.
what kind of a doctor it was. It was a. I'm not going to say it here.
I'm gonna send you back to zombie land, dog.
All right, your turn.
All right. That was good, dude. I like that. Outside, the Sandkings were waiting. 2 armies confronted him, allied against the common threat. More than he could have guessed. The damned maws must be breeding like rock jocks. They were everywhere, a creeping sea of them. Cress brought up the hose and flicked the trigger. A gray mist washed over the nearest rank of Sandkings. He moved his hand from side to side. Where the mist fell, the Sandkings twitched violently and died in sudden spasms. Cress smiled. They were no match for him. He sprayed in a wide arc before him and stepped forward confidently over a litter of black and red bodies.
There's something weird about this. Every book that I've read about like a serial killer in fiction or IRL always describes like blood or something in terms of an arc. It's always like that. There's something about these types of people that like they love to see the it's like a painting
spurt
to them. Yeah,
the spurt. The Quentin Tarantino head cuts off. The arc of blood comes out.
I need more spurt here.
Give me more spurt, please. Right now.
We need a real spurter.
Okay. This one's a gusher. All right.
No.
The armies fell back. Cress advanced. Oh yeah. Cress advanced, intent on cutting through them to their maws. All at once the retreat stopped. 1,000 Sandkings surged towards him. Cress had been expecting the counterattack. He stood his ground, sweeping his misty sword before him in great looping strokes. They came at him and died. A few got through. He could not spray everywhere all at once. He felt them climbing up his legs, sensed their mandibles biting futilely at his reinforced plastic of his skin thins. He ignored them and kept spraying. Then he began to feel soft impacts on his head and shoulders. Cress trembled and spun and looked above him. The front of his house was alive with Sandkings, blacks and reds, hundreds of them. They were launching themselves into the air, raining down on him. They fell all around him. One landed on his faceplate, its mandibles scraping at his eyes for a terrible second before he plucked it away.
Bug Blitzkrieg.
Right? And that's reminded me of 300, the freaking arrows, you know?
Oh, good point. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They are like bugs in that movie.
Yeah, the arrows just like all coming down like a rain. That's what I was thinking of. He swung up his hose and sprayed the air, sprayed the house, sprayed until the airborne Sandkings were all dead and dying. The mist settled back on him, making him cough. He coughed and kept spraying. Only when the front of the house was clean did Cress turn his attention back to the ground.
I wish he had a blowtorch instead. That would be cool.
Right? Like a fucking like a flamethrower, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like in The Deer Hunter. Have you seen that interview with that old man who he was a flamethrower in WW2?
I might have. Yeah, was it like a kind of like a soft white underbelly type interview with like a veteran talking about flamethrowers?
Yeah, it's like his grandson's asking him about what he did in the war, and he's like, "Well, I went into there was a bunker full of and
bunker full of zipper heads."
Yeah, and he's like, "Did you get any of them?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got about 56 of them right in that first assault. It was great. I heard them crunching and cooking."
Yo, you know what that reminds me of? I just saw a like a Instagram reel of like a old Vietnam vet, and it was some page that like was a gun page, and they gave this guy like a M60 machine gun and let him shoot it, and he's like this old fat guy. He looks like your grandpa, and as soon as he starts shooting it, you just see the fucking glaze over his eyes, and he's like, "I'm back home."
Hell yeah!
Send me at him.
I've heard that that's part of the tourism in Vietnam because they've got all this stuff left over, and you can go out and like buy surplus. You'd be like, "Yeah, I want a grenade launcher, and I want to, blow up like a old Huey or something."
Bro, did you know that up until the there was a law in 1964 passed, like you could buy anything, bro, like in America. My ex-girlfriend's grandfather gave me a gun magazine from like 1959, and it was like anti-aircraft fucking turret. You could, if you had the money for it, like you could buy it. He's like it was hard to find the ammo for some of these things, but you could have a fucking cannon, you could have a bazooka, anything.
Well, if you watch Pawn Stars, you can still do that. I remember There was a news story last year where a guy showed up at a gas station in Louisiana with a tank from Ukraine. Mm-hmm. They were like, "How'd you get this?" And he was like, "I had it shipped."
Well, Ukraine's a different story now because pretty much they're selling the guns to anybody. So you can probably do that today.
It was an American. It was
just
an
go
Abrams
to Panama
tank.
or go to some third world country. You can probably buy some Ukrainian.
A toy in the 50s was the uranium atomic kit. It was real uranium.
Right, awesome. They had that ring that like came in like a cereal box with like a piece of uranium.
Awesome, dude. We used to be a real country with shit like that. It was awesome.
I know. I think about that all the time. I'll be in a grocery store. And I'm like, if this were even just 60 years ago, I could smoke a cigarette and nobody would bitch about it. You know, like people were just tough. Nobody would be like,
why aren't you smoking a cigarette?
Oh, could you stop that, please? Like the other day, I had some guy walk out because I was smoking, and he's like, "Oh, could you step away a little bit more from the building?" I'm just like, bro. 100 years ago, I could be in your building smoking, and nobody would say anything, and you're so gay, dude. Like,
step away. I'm gonna You want me to start stepping?
That same person will sit by a fucking campfire and just breathe in direct smoke and not say anything, but it's a cigarette, and they've just been
that guy loves breathing paraquat. He's telling you to stop smoking.
Yeah, he's probably got a bunch of like artificial fabric softeners spraying in, air fresheners spraying in the house that are like a million times worse for you than any freaking.
Yeah, I'm that kind of thing. I don't really get that often, but I am sick of that kind of person. I had that happen to me the other day. Somebody told me to, "Can you move, please?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, dude. It's like good. They've been propagandized so much that it's like it's okay to be like what's the word? When you're overly concerned about something to a state of like unhealthiness. What's that called? When you're fucking. Neurotic? Yeah. It's like it's okay to have that neuroses. Like you smell a cigarette, you're like, I'm dying. I'm getting killed now. I'm getting killed.
Fourth hand smoke. I gotta tell you about the lady in church.
Which one?
The lady in church. She goes, "Are you okay?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm fine. Why?" And she goes, "It sounds like you're congested." And it was the piece. I was shaking her hand, and I pulled her into me, and I said, "Is that a problem?" And I didn't realize till afterwards that I'd done it.
Oh my god!
And I don't like that happened, but it's like
right?
These people. It's like Sam Hyde said. Like these people have this. Karanka gave them power.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I had an old lady chase me through a grocery store during Karanka, literally because I wasn't wearing a mask, and that dude. I don't even want to talk about it because it was just such a horrible time, and nobody wants to hear about it. But it's like I was literally the only person in the grocery store without a mask, and this old lady literally came up to me and she was like in my face screaming, and I was like, "Mind your business." Mind your business. I'm good. Put on a mask. I'm not going to do that. And I just walked, and she just kept following me, yelling at me, and I just started laughing at her. I'm like, you are fucking insane.
I only had that one time, and it was a dude in a Walgreens who complained to a manager, and I heard him doing it, and I turned to him like this, and he went, "Never mind." And I had Charlie Manson eyes at the time. And then outside, I said, "Have a good day, sir. Hey, when are you going to be home? I'll be waiting."
Not only did he have Charlie Manson eyes, he had Charlie Manson face tattoos as well at the time as well.
On my forehead?
Yeah, on your forehead.
I'm out of society, man.
Okay, back to the story. All right. He felt they were all around him, on him, dozens of them scurrying over his body, hundreds of others hurrying to join them. He turned the mist on them. The hose went dead. Cress heard a loud hiss, and the deadly fog rose in a great cloud from between his shoulders, cloaking him, choking him, making his eyes burn and blur. He felt for the hose, and his hand came away covered with dying Sandkings. The hose was severed. They'd eaten it through. He was surrounded by a shroud of pesticide, blinded. He stumbled and screamed and began to run back to the house, pulling Sandkings from his body as he went. Inside, he sealed the door and collapsed on the carpet, rolling back and forth until he was sure he had crushed them all. The canister was empty by then, hissing feebly. Cress stripped off his skin thins and showered. The hot spray scalded him and left his skin reddened and sensitive, but it made his flesh stop crawling. He dressed in his heaviest clothing, thick work pants and leathers after shaking them out nervously. Damn, he kept muttering, damn! His throat was dry. After searching the entry hall thoroughly to make certain it was clean, he allowed himself to sit and pour a drink. Damn, he repeated. His hand shook as he poured, slopping liquor onto the carpet. The alcohol settled him, but it did not wash away the fear. He had a second drink and went to the window furtively. Sandkings were moving across the thick plastic pane. He shuddered and retreated to his communications console. He had to get help, he thought, wildly. He would punch through a call to the authorities, and policers would come out with flamethrowers and... Simon Crest stopped in mid-call and groaned. He couldn't call the police. He would have to tell them about the whites in his cellar, and they'd find the bodies there. Perhaps the maw might have finished Kath Mullane by now, but certainly not Ida Neredian. He hadn't even cut her up. Besides, there would be bones. No, the police could be called in, only as a last resort. He sat at the console, frowning. His communications equipment filled a whole wall. From here, he could reach anyone on Balder. He had plenty of money, and his cunning. He had always prided himself on it. I bet he frickin' did, dude. I bet he did. This guy's so dumb. He'd always prided himself on his cunning. He would handle this somehow. He briefly considered calling Woe, but soon dismissed the idea. Woe knew too much, and she would ask questions, and he did not trust her. No, he needed someone who would do as he asked without questions. His frown faded, and slowly turned into a smile. Simon Cress had contacts. He put through a call to a number he had not used in a long time. A woman's face took shape on his view screen, white-haired, bland of expression with a long hook nose. Her voice was brisk and efficient.
Simon, she said, how's business?
Business is fine, Lysandra, Cress replied. I have a job for you.
A removal? My price has gone up since last time, Simon. It's been 10 years after all.
You will be well paid. You know I'm generous. I want you for a bit of pest control.
She smiled a thin smile. No need to use euphemism, Simon. The call is shielded. No, I'm serious. Oh, that's you.
No, I'm serious. I have a pest problem. Dangerous pests. Take care of them for me. No questions. Understood?
Understood.
Good. You'll need, 3 or 4 operatives. Wear heat-resistant skin thins and equip them with flamethrowers or lasers, something on that order. Come out to my place. You'll see the problem. Bugs. Lots and lots of them. In my rock garden, in the old swimming pool, you'll find castles. Destroy them. Kill everything inside them. Then knock on the door, and I'll show you what else needs to be done. Can you get out here quickly?
Her face was impassive. We'll leave within the hour. She's like, are you being metaphorical or are these like literal bugs?
Oh, literal pests, dog.
Like a certain kind of person. Whatever it is, it's fine. I'll come help.
Yeah, she literally thought he was like, hey, I need you to kill someone for me. She's like,
a bunch of people. She's like, I can't do it because 10 years ago it was a problem. There was so much.
No, she literally is like, oh, you don't have to use euphemisms. Just tell me to kill someone. I'll do it. He's like, no, literal bugs.
Yeah,
Lysandra. Right, yeah, the wolf, exactly. Pulp Fiction. Lysandra was true to her word. She arrived in a lean black skimmer with 3 operatives. Cress watched them from the safety of a second-story window. They were all faceless in dark plastic skin thins. 2 of them wore portable flamethrowers. A third carried a laser cannon and explosives. Lysandra carried nothing. Cress recognized her by the way she gave orders. Their skimmer passed low overhead first, checking out the situation. The Sandkings went mad. Scarlet.
She's a maw, by the way, a human maw.
What do you mean?
Is it Lysandra? Yeah, yep. Lysandra is a human maw.
Why do you say that?
Well, because they're doing they're the creatures and they're doing her orders, and she doesn't have to do anything.
Oh yeah, you're so right. Oh my! See, this is why we need the Bazed Lit analyzer on here, dude. Because you pick up on these things.
Do you remember that scene in Mission Impossible, the first one, where like he meets that old lady, and he's like, Spider caught a fly or whatever, and she's the contact for intelligence. She has all the cleaners to clean up the place, and they got to get out. Yep. That's her.
Yeah, she's the officer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Sandkings went mad. Scarlet and Ebony mobiles ran everywhere, frenetic. Cress could see the castle in the rock garden from his vantage point. It stood tall as a man. Its ramparts were everywhere, frenetic. Oh, hang on. Its ramparts were crawling with black defenders, and a steady stream of mobiles flowed down into its depths. Lysandra's skimmer came down next to Cress's, and the operatives vaulted out and unlimbered their weapons. They looked inhuman, deadly. The Black Army drew up between them and the castle. The Reds. Cress suddenly realized that he could not see the Reds. He blinked. Where'd they gone? Lysandra pointed and shouted, and her 2 flamethrowers spread out and opened up on the Black Sandkings. Their weapons coughed dully and began to roar, long tongues of blue and scarlet fire licking out before them. Sandkings right? This story is changing so much. Like at one point it's like one way, now it's like an action movie. Like, literally, it's
I
like
like his
Predator.
language though. His diction in this is really good. He's really
Oh
good
yeah.
at words.
Oh yeah. It's so good, dude. Okay. The Black Army drew up between them in the castle. Okay.
Operatives
Lysandra.
began to play the fire back and forth. There we were.
I lost it.
In an efficient interlocking pattern, they advanced with careful, measured steps. The Black Army, burned and disintegrated. The mobiles fleeing in 1,000 different directions. Some back toward the castle, others toward the enemy. None reached the operatives with the flamethrowers. Lysandra's people were very professional. Then one of them stumbled.
Or seemed to stumble. Cress looked again and saw that the ground had given way beneath the man. Tunnels, he thought, with a tremor of fear. Tunnels, pits, traps. The flamer was sunk in, sand up to his waist, and suddenly the ground around him seemed to erupt, and he was covered with scarlet Sandkings. He dropped the flamethrower and began to claw wildly at his own body. His screams were horrible to hear. Yo, if these Sandkings... Yo, if these Sandkings start to use the flamethrower, dude, shit's gone really bad. You know
Tricked you. We've been in the tunnels the whole time.
Had to bring some mattresses in there. We got some mattresses in our tunnels.
I told you I heard something. I was in the basement and I heard voices. You didn't hear anything, sir.
Oh, God. His companion hesitated, then swung and fired. A blast of flames swallowed human and Sandkings both. The screaming stopped abruptly. Satisfied, the second flamer turned back to the castle and took another step forward and recoiled as his foot broke through the ground and vanished up to the ankle. He tried to pull it back and retreat, and the sand all around him gave way. He lost his balance and stumbled, flailing, and the Sandkings were everywhere, a boiling mass of them, covering him as he writhed and rolled. His flamethrower was useless and forgotten.
Now he's meeting his fate because the word boiled or boiling was used before, like he boiled his clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's boiling around him. He's sinking into the sand, just like the playpen where he put these creatures, and he's in it.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Cress pounded wildly on the window, shouting for attention. The castle! Get the castle! Lysandra, standing back by her skimmer, heard and gestured. Her third operative sighted with the laser cannon and fired. The beam throbbed across the grounds and sliced off the top of the castle. He brought it down sharply, hacking at the sand and stone parapets. Towers fell. Oh, both of them? Bush knocked down the towers. Cress's face disintegrated. The laser bit into the ground, searching round and about. The castle crumbled. Now it was only a heap of sand, but the black mobiles continued to move. The maw was buried too deeply. They hadn't touched her. Lysandra gave another order. Her operative discarded the laser, primed an explosive, and darted forward. He leaped over the smoking corpse of the first flamer, landed on solid ground within Cress's rock garden, and heaved. The explosive ball landed square atop the ruins of the Black Castle. White-hot light seared Cress's eyes, and there was a tremendous gout of sand and rock and mobiles. For a moment, dust obscured everything. It was raining Sandkings and pieces of Sandkings. Cress saw that the black mobiles were dead and unmoving.
Awesome.
The pool! He shouted down through the window. Get the castle in the pool! Lysandra understood quickly. The ground was littered with motionless blacks, but the reds were pulling back hurriedly and reforming. Her operative stood uncertain, then reached down and pulled out another explosive ball. He took one step forward, but Lysandra called him, and he sprinted back in her direction.
You guy's a crypto hater like George Lucas.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Right, remember the making of the movie where he's giving acting directions to Jar Jar? He's like, no, I need you to act a little more. Swing your arms a little more.
Try it again, but do it less gay and retarded.
The guy playing was like, what if I do this? And he's like, nope, none of that.
Absolutely. Anything but that. Okay. It was all so simple then. He reached the skimmer and Lysandra took him aloft. Cress rushed to another window in another room to watch. They came swooping in just over the pool, and the operative pitched his bombs down at the Red Castle from the safety of the skimmer. After the fourth run, the castle was unrecognizable, and the Sandkings stopped moving. Lysandra was thorough. She had him bomb each castle several additional times. Then he used the laser cannon, crisscrossing methodically until it was certain that nothing living could remain intact beneath those small patches of ground. Finally, they came knocking at his door. Cress was grinning maniacally when he let them in.
Oh,
Lovely, he said. So, number one, this is like the wolf, kind of like what you were saying. They're the cleaners. They're just coming in, and they fucking took care of it all. But what what are they forgetting, dude?
I don't know, but he is always grinning or smiling or laughing when there's like death and destruction. Right, which is awesome. And also, this is like Iraq War. This is like Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
Right. They bring the deltas in, right, and they throw the like strobe up on the top of the roof. Remember, and the Apache comes through and smokes all those like the skinnies.
Right. Yo, and what's funny is because like I know they're not humans because they're not on Earth, but it's like these race of little ants or whatever are like super into war, but then the humans are like, hold my beer. Like, you think that's war? Like, hang on, we're gonna nuke the hell out of y'all, dude.
Yeah, they don't understand that the United States, if you mess with us, then all the countries around it will turn to glass for 20 years. Right.
Yo, but they are forgetting something. I mean, come on now. Lovely, he said. Lysandra pulled off the mask of her skin thins. This will cost you, Simon. 2 operatives gone, not to mention the danger to my own life. Of course, Cress blurted. You will be well paid, Lysandra. Whatever you ask, just so as you finish the job.
What happened? Did they forget the Maws?
No, they killed the Maws. That's how they got the blacks to stop moving and the reds.
Right, okay.
They forgot the oranges. He never found the orange.
The variable, that's right.
He has no idea where the orange ones went. And he never found them after the glass broke, because the oranges were the ones, they were the runt of the litter. They weren't freaking...
The lost tribe of Nephilim.
Yeah. Okay, this one's you. What remains?
What remains to be done?
You have to clean out my wine cellar, Cress said. There's another castle down there, and you'll have to do it without explosives. I don't want my house coming down around me.
Who gives a shit?
Right?
This place, it's a war zone.
Yeah, well, now that he's safe, he's like, now he's going to make demands again. If that would have happened like earlier, he would have been like, nuke my house, it's fine.
Well, also the house in literature always stands, like the house is always what's the word? A simulacrum?
For yourself?
The inner character of the person who's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's an outer structure for their psyche, I suppose. So everything is like, it's all cinders, but he's still giving out, orders or whatever. And he doesn't understand that his doom, I suppose, is wilt thou, what is the line about crack of doom?
You're the lit analyzer. I don't know that one. I know Macbeth, but I don't know it.
Will the line continue until the crack of doom in his vision? Right.
Nice. Yep.
The crack of doom.
Lysandra motioned to her operative. Go outside and get Rick's. I'm just gonna call it Rick. Get Rick's flamethrower. It should be intact. He returned, armed, ready, silent. Cress led them down to the wine cellar.
Let's have a name with a random consonant in the middle. That'll be Icelandic.
What the hell? How would you pronounce that? Rajik?
I think that's like a Norse name.
Yeah, Rick.
Probably Rick. Rick.
That's what I thought.
Richard.
Rick. Yeah. His name is Dick. The heavy door was still nailed shut as he left it, but it bulged outward slightly, as if warped by some tremendous pressure. That made Cress uneasy, as did the silence that held rain about them. He stood well away from the door as Lysandra's operative removed his nails and planks. Is that safe in here? He found himself muttering, pointing at the flamethrower. I don't want to fire either,
I have the laser, Lysandra said. We'll use that for the kill. The flamethrower probably won't be needed, but I want it here just in case. There are worse things than fire, Simon.
He nodded. The last plank came free of the cellar door. There was still no sound from below. Lysandra snapped an order, and her underling fell back, took up a position behind her, and leveled the flamethrower square at the door. She slipped her mask back on, hefted the laser, stepped forward, and pulled open the door. No motion. No sound. It was dark down there.
Is there light?
Just inside the door, Cress asked. Just inside the door. On the right-hand side. Mind the stairs. They're quite steep.
I killed somebody down there.
Mind the body. She stepped into the door, shifted the laser to her left hand, and reached up with her right, fumbling inside for the light panel. Nothing happened.
I feel it, Lysandra said, but it doesn't seem to.
Then she was screaming, and she stumbled backwards. A great white sand king had clamped itself around her wrist. Blood welled through her skin thins where its mandibles had sunk in. It was fully as large as her hand. Lysandra did a horrible little jig across the room and began to smash her hand against the nearest wall. Again and again and again. It landed with a heavy, meaty thud. Finally, the Sand King fell away. She whimpered and fell to her knees.
It's like Cronenberg or something now.
Right? They're as big as her hand now? Oh, my God.
Ugh, body horror. In my mind, these things are huge, like human-sized creatures. So,
yeah, it's good that we got the reference now, that we know exactly how big they are now. All right, this line is yours here.
I think my fingers are broken, she said. Wait, hold on, softly. My fingers are broken, he said softly.
The blood was still flowing freely. She had dropped the laser near the cellar door.
I'm not going down there,
her operative announced in a clear, firm tones. Lysandra looked up at him.
No, she said. Stand in the door and flame it all. Cinder it. Do you understand?
He nodded. Simon Crest moaned. My house, he said. His stomach churned. The white Sand King had been so large.
Stomach?
Yep. How many more were down there? Don't, he continued. Leave it alone. I've changed my mind. Leave it alone. Lysandra misunderstood. She held out her hand. It was covered with blood and greenish-black ichor. Your little friend Oh, sorry, you go.
No, that's interesting. I like that word.
Right, ichor?
Ichor.
Oh, yeah, that's great. It's a good word.
Your little friend bit clean through my glove, and you saw what it took to get it off. I don't care about your house, Simon. Whatever's down there is going to die.
Crest hardly heard her. He thought he could see movement in the shadows beyond the cellar door. He imagined a white army bursting forth, all as large as the Sand King that had attacked Lysandra. He saw himself being lifted by 100 tiny arms and dragged down into the darkness where the maw waited hungrily. He was afraid. Don't, he said. They ignored him. Crest darted forward and his shoulder slammed into the back of Lysandra's operative just as the man was bracing to fire. He grunted and unbalanced and pitched forward into the back. Crest listened to him fall down the stairs. Afterward, there were other noises, scuttlings and snaps and soft squitching sounds. Crest swung around to face Lysandra. He was drenched in cold sweat, but a sickly kind of excitement was on him. It was almost sexual. There it is.
I knew it.
There it is.
I knew it.
Thanks, George. We knew you were going to come around to it eventually.
I knew it.
He just can't help himself, dude. He literally can't.
Yeah.
Lysandra's calm. So hang on. So is he trying to bargain with the Sand Kings now by pushing him down there, or is he trying to show Lysandra like, look how dangerous this is? Like, stay out.
I don't think that he really knows what he wants, but he knows that he wants this whole thing to continue.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because he gets off on it. It's like chaos, and he's fighting them, but he likes that because I guess after this battle, like the battles in the sand pit have now transferred to him in the battle, and now he's in it, and he wants to emerge.
Yep. Lysandra's calm, cold eyes regarded him through her mask.
What are you doing? She demanded. As Cress, I can't read it. As Cress picked up her laser she had dropped. Simon!
Making a peace, he said. Oh, he is bargaining with them. Making a peace, he said. They won't hurt God. No, not so long as God is good and generous. I was cruel. Starve them. I have to make up for it now. You see?
You're insane, Lysandra said. It was the last thing she said.
Go for it.
Cress burned a hole in her chest big enough to put his arm through. He dragged the body across the floor and rolled it down the cellar stairs. Cellar door.
Cellar door. The most beautiful words of the language of America.
The noises were louder. Can't read it. Were louder. I can't read these words.
Okay, I got it. The noises were louder. Chitinous clackings and scrapings and echoes that were thick and liquid. Crest nailed up the door once again. As he fled, he was filled with a deep sense of contentment that coated his fear like a layer of syrup. He suspected it was not his own. What does that mean? Is that the psionic powers influencing him?
I guess, but it's also like a sexual liquid that now he's totally wrapped in,
Wait a
right?
minute.
He,
His contentment coated his fear like a layer of syrup, but he suspected it was not his own. It was not his own contentment. So whose contentment is it? The Sandkings?
I guess, right? Because they're psionic.
That's what I
He's
was
gonna
thinking.
be,
They're
is he
psychic
gonna?
abilities.
It's the hive mind. He's now like merging with it, I suppose.
He did Ghost. Yeah, you're right. The white ones were his favorite because he's based like that. No, I'm just kidding.
A powerful arm. Oh shit! Where'd he go? Is that me? Am I still alive? Hello. Okay, I guess I'm on here now. This is my channel now.
I instantly got nuked as soon as I said that. I instantly got nuked. Shut it down. Shut it down. No, I clicked the button on my mouse that just instantly presses the back button on my fucking thing. That was great. I love when I do that. It's
so
very
he
professional.
blows a hole through her chest and then drags her by putting his arm through her stomach. There's a lot of chest and stomach in this, right? And gurgling and like noises that indicate something about like appetite, and of course that's the maw.
And the body horror, like you said, like Cronenberg body horror too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think ultimately, like with the name of the queen or whatever, it's that this whole thing is about like consumption. It's like they're fighting and they're consuming and they're not going to stop. And ultimately, he wants to be somehow consumed by them, or he wants like he's consuming this is his passion, right?
Yeah, and
that's how he shows power.
That's a really good point because the way I would read it just by myself is like he's afraid, so he's just bargaining. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still God to them, so like I can, as long as I'm good to them, I'll be okay." But you're right. He like enjoys it, and you've said that throughout this whole thing. Is he really does enjoy the chaos of it?
Yeah, I don't think that he is ever afraid in this. Like he doesn't. I think that like emotions or feelings like that, like this guy kind of loses them throughout the thing, and eventually,
like he's a sociopath.
Yeah, like they don't even occur to him at this point. It really is like the way that this is written really does capture like what we know about a lot of these like psycho people. Like, and this is also, I mean, Macbeth is just like this too. He says, "I've forgotten the taste of fear." He totally, he's just not even like
the degradation, the spiraling.
Yeah, he's like numb. He doesn't have those kinds of feelings anymore. I guess because if you exist on like consumption and power and all this
violence
stuff, yeah, then those anything dealing with like mercy or grace or anything like that, it's like he sees this woman, she helps him, he uses her, and then of course he blows her away. Then he feeds her to them.
Yeah, and good point, Ghost. He is. It's like a what's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, absolutely, agreed. Good night, Mela. Good to see you. All right. So, carrying on here, he planned to leave his home, to fly to the city and take a room for the night, or perhaps for a year. Instead, Crest started drinking. He was not quite sure why. He drank steadily for hours and retched it all up violently on his living room carpet. At some point, he fell asleep. When he woke, it was pitch dark in the house.
Again, the stomach.
Yeah, again, they keeps going back to that.
Yeah.
He cowered against the couch. He could hear noises. Things were moving in the walls. They were all around him. His hearing was extraordinarily acute. Every little creak was the footstep of a Sand King. He closed his eyes and waited, expecting to feel their terrible touch, afraid to move lest he brush against one. Yo, this has got to be like the worst story ever for someone with a phobia of bugs. Like, this is like the worst. Crest sobbed.
It is, but it's also kind of not, because the way the bugs are described, the only feeling he has is like in common with these things. So there's a weird sort of like anti sentiment or like some sort of like altered empathy involved in this. That's like the hive mind.
Yeah, he's got the reverse.
When he hears the bugs in the walls, I mean, that's like they're banging on the walls of his psyche. It's like this is like Jeff Goldblum's Fly.
He Crest sobbed and was very still for a while, but nothing happened. He opened his eyes again. He trembled. Slowly, the shadows began to soften and dissolve. Moonlight was filtering through the high windows. His eyes adjusted. The living room was empty. Nothing there. Nothing. Nothing. Only his drunken fear.
That's a good line.
Yeah, that's good. Simon Crest steeled himself and rose and went to a light. Nothing there. The room was quiet, deserted. He listened. Nothing. No sound. Nothing in the walls. It had all been his imagination, his fear. The memories of Lysandra and the thing in the cellar returned to him unbidden. Shame
fear,
and
he's only afraid of like being caught or exposed.
yeah, losing all his status and power and the memories of Lysandra and the thing in the cellar returned to him unbidden. Shame and anger washed over him. Why had he done that? He could have helped her burn it out, kill it. Why? He knew why. The maw had done it to him, put fear in him. Woe had said it was psionic even when it was small, and now it was large, so large. It had feasted on Kath and Itty, and now it had 2 more bodies down there. It could keep growing, it would keep growing, and it had learned to like the taste of human flesh, he thought. He began to shake, but he took control of himself again and stopped. It wouldn't hurt him. He was God. The whites had always been his favorites.
This fear that he has right here is like a different kind of fear. He's not afraid. This is like
it's literally projecting the fear into his mind, is what he is saying. He's saying the maw is doing it.
Yeah, it's also like when we talk about the fear of the Lord, right? This is like an inversion of that. That he has that kind of fear. He's not afraid. This is a fear of something bigger than himself in a unspoken way that he's never had before, is what I assume, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
What'd they say?
All right. My buddy Jimmy said, I've had you guys in my pocket while I was cooking and doing dishes, and I want you guys to read my life and tell me what I'm doing wrong. If y'all were my therapist, I would understand myself much better. That's right, Jimmy. And just for $5 a minute, you can have Bazed Lit Analyzer and Jerry narrate your life.
Listen, I understand you have problems, okay? But let me ask you one thing. What if you didn't?
Have you tried not having problems? Have you tried maybe try not being gay? Have you tried that? All right. Anyways, he began to shake, but he took control of himself again and stopped. It wouldn't hurt him. He was God. The whites had always been his favorites. He remembered how he had stabbed it with his throwing sword. That was before Kath came. Damn her anyway. He couldn't stay here. The maw would grow hungry again. Large as it was, it wouldn't take long. Its appetite would be terrible. What would it do then? He had to get away, back to the safety of the city while it was still contained in his wine cellar. It was only plaster and hard-packed earth down there, and the mobiles could dig and tunnel. When they got free, Crest didn't want to think about it. He went to his bedroom and packed. He took 3 bags, just a single change of clothing. That was all he needed. The rest of the space he filled with his valuables, with jewelry and art and other things he could not bear to lose. He did not expect to return. His shambler followed him down the stairs.
This guy is wild.
Yo, but also, how did the shambler survive? I would think that would be like that, because I'm thinking of it like a dog, like some sort of alien rock dog. Like you would think that would be the first thing they would try to eat.
Maybe they don't like the taste of shambler.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, this guy is wild, dude. I mean, it's kind of
jewelry, art,
right? He couldn't bear to leave his Hunter Biden napkin art.
He put the diamonds in some bread and ate a diamond sandwich.
Okay, where are we here?
Too spicy.
Jewelry and art and other things he could not bear to lose. He did not expect to return. His shambler followed him down the stairs, staring at him from its baleful, glowing eyes. It was gaunt. Crest realized that it had been ages since he had fed it. Normally it could take care of itself, but no doubt the pickings had grown lean of late. When it tried to clutch at his leg, he snarled at it and kicked it away, and it scurried off, offended. What a dick, dude.
Yeah, this guy sucks.
Crest slipped outside, carrying his bags awkwardly, and shut the door behind him. So he's literally leaving the shambler for them to eat. That is so screwed up. For a moment, he stood pressed against the house, his heart thudding in his chest. Only a few meters between him and his skimmer. He was afraid to cross them. The moonlight was bright. In the front of his house was a scene of carnage. The bodies of Lysandra's 2 flamers lay where they had fallen, one twisted and burned, the other swollen beneath a mass of dead Sandkings. This guy must not have any neighbors, dude. And the mobiles, the black and red mobiles, they were all around him. It was an effort to remember that they were dead. It was almost as if they were simply waiting. as they had waited so often before. Nonsense, Crest told himself, more drunken fears. He had seen the castles blown apart. They were dead, and the White Maw was trapped in his cellar. He took several deep and deliberate breaths and stepped forward onto the Sandkings. They crunched. He ground them into the sand savagely, and they did not move. Crest smiled and walked slowly across the battleground, listening to the sounds of safety. Crunch, crackle, crunch. This is an interesting callback of...
Yeah, this shit is like... You remember in Red Dragon where he's like, you are an ant in the afterbirth. You are part of a great become. It's like these things are literally these creatures that he can lord over. But obviously, this is a metaphor for. This is like, is this guy like he's not an elite, right?
He seems like he is an elite because he seems like money is no object. He's got a massive estate. He doesn't have a house. He has an estate. He's definitely up there.
He has Eyes Wide Shut parties. He films things.
He's got art. And he's got a girl he can call to just be like, "Yo, I need some bodies cleaned up." Oh, you got it.
But the beginning, like it's you know what? I'm confusing it with the Outer Limits because in that it's Beau Bridges, like in a flannel shirt,
just a family man in the shed.
Yeah. It's like I wanted a hobby and a toy.
Right. Honey, I brought my work home with me. Okay. Get off my back.
I work for DARPA. I'll be in the shed. Is my son around?
I don't want to. Could you throw a ball to my boy? I'm too busy playing with my bugs.
Oh, he does that in the episode, doesn't he? Like throws a ball to his kid.
Oh yeah. Dude, Beau Bridges is a gem, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's awesome.
He's underrated in the Bridges family for sure.
He is. And you know who else is in the Sandkings episode? Lloyd Bridges, dude.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's Beau and his dad, and there's another Bridges in there too. It's the youngest one. That plays his son or daughter.
The grandson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hell yeah. You thought it was one. You get the whole.
You get the trio,
Jeff
dude.
Bridges. Where was
Jeff Bridges? He was too big. Yeah, he was too Hollywood. He's not going to be a part of some Outer Limits.
You think you're better than them? You can't hang out with your family on the Outer Limits?
Right? Come on now, dude. Make it the whole family thing. All right. And also, this is an interesting callback to when he was controlling the war, right? He was the master of the destruction and the chaos when it was in the tank. And now here he is, all of these dead bodies, dead human, well, what is analogous to humans, dead Sandkings, destroyed scene of carnage, and he's just walking through smiling. He's just like, I did this. You know, he's just totally fine with it.
Yeah, he loves it. I mean, this is really... Is this another Gnostic? I mean, this has Gnosticism in it for sure, right? He's
kind of a demiurge. Yeah, he's kind of a demiurge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Interesting.
All right, where am I? Nonsense. They did not move. Crunch, crackle. He lowered his bags to the ground and opened the door to his skimmer. Something moved from shadow into light. A pale shape on the seat of his skimmer. It was as long as his forearm. Its mandibles clacked together softly, and it looked up at him from 6 small eyes set all around its body. Cress wet his pants and backed away slowly. There was more motion from inside the skimmer.
That's perverse.
He had left the door open. That is perverse. The Sand King emerged and came towards him cautiously. Others followed. They had been hiding beneath his seats, burrowed into the upholstery, but now they emerged. They formed a ragged ring around the skimmer. Cress licked his lips, turned, and moved quickly to Lysandra's skimmer.
What a weird detail.
I know, dude. He stopped before he was halfway there. Things were moving inside that one, too. Great maggoty things, half seen by the light of the moon. Cress whimpered and retreated back toward the house. Near the front door, he looked up. Yeah, like the dog he kicked away. Yeah. He counted a dozen long white shapes, creeping back and forth across the walls of the building. 4 of them were clustered close together near the top of the unused belfry where the carrion hawk had once roosted. They were carving something. A face. A very recognizable face. Simon Cress shrieked and ran back inside.
Okay, one more comment before we finish this.
Yeah, no, we're almost at the end. We got 2 pages left, so keep it going, dude.
There's an episode of Westworld season 2 where something like this occurs, and that's like heavily Gnostic. It's where Delos, the guy who owns the park, puts himself in the experiment because he's tested to see if he can live forever in a new body.
Okay.
And then the park like goes to shit and it blows up, and they find him in the little pod, and he's like carving his face with a mirror.
Oh wow!
And he's like a remnant of what he once was. And he says, when they get him, he says, they told you there were two faces, one above, one below. They lied. It was only ever the devil staring back down at you, laughing.
Oh wow! Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, that's like this. They're making this satanic face of this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he asked for. He wanted all this.
He wanted to be worshipped. Wo Lang told him right in the beginning, like, this thing's going to worship you, you're going to be God. And that's what is the source of his joy in this story. Like, we keep talking about how much he's loving this, and it's from that. That's why he's enjoying himself so much, because no matter what happens, he's the demiurge, he's the God, he's the master of it.
What a jerk.
What a freaking mean...
That's a real jerk.
A meanie, dude. A sufficient quantity of drink brought him the easy oblivion he sought, but he woke. Despite everything, he woke. He had a terrific headache, and he smelled, and he was hungry, oh so very hungry. He had never been so hungry. Cress knew it was not his own stomach hurting. Their mind psionic, their mind controlling him. A white Sand King watched him from atop the dresser in his bedroom, its antenna moving faintly. It was as big as the one in the skimmer the night before. He tried not to shrink away. I'll feed you, he said to it. I'll feed you. His mouth was horribly dry, sandpaper dry. He licked his lips and fled from the room. The house was full of Sand Kings. He had to be careful where he put his feet. They all seemed busy on errands of their own. They were making modifications in his house, burrowing into or out of his walls, carving things. Twice he saw his own likeness staring out at him from unexpected places. The faces were warped, twisted, livid with fear. He went outside to get the bodies that had been rotting in the yard, hoping to appease the white maw's hunger. They were gone, both of them. Cress remembered how easily the mobiles could carry things many times their own weight. It was terrible to think that the maw was still hungry after all of that. When Cress re-entered the house, a column of Sand Kings was wending its way down the stairs. Each carried a piece of his shambler. The head seemed to look at him reproachfully as it went by. Cress emptied the freezers, his cabinets, everything, piling all the food in the house in the center of his kitchen floor. A dozen whites waited to take it away. They avoided the frozen food, leaving it to thaw in a great puddle.
Shouts out to Tristan.
Shouts out. But they carried off everything else. When all the food was gone, Cress felt his own hunger pangs abate just a bit, though he had not eaten a thing. But he knew the respite would be short-lived. Soon the maw would be hungry again. He had to feed it. Cress knew what to do. He went to his communicator. Melania, he began casually when the first of his friends answered. I'm having a small party tonight. I realize this is terribly short notice, but I hope you can make it. I really do. He called Jad Rackus next, and then the others. By the time he had finished, 9 of them had accepted his invitation. Crest hoped that would be enough. Yo, dude.
Oh my God.
Cress met his guests outside. The mobiles had cleaned up remarkably quickly, and the grounds looked almost as they had before the battle, and walked them to his front door. He let them enter first. He did not follow. When 4 of them had gone through, Cress finally worked up his courage. He closed the door behind his latest guest.
Just like that emperor.
Which one? Oh, the one you were
talking. Yeah, with the lion and the tiger locking him in there and leaving.
Yep.
It's crazy.
He closed the door behind his latest guest, ignoring the startled exclamations that soon turned into a shrill gibbering, and sprinted for the skimmer the man had arrived in. He slid in safely, thumbed the start plate, and swore. It was programmed to lift only in response to its owner's thumbprint, of course. Jad Rackus was the next to arrive. Cress ran to his skimmer as it set down, and seized Rackus by the arm as he was climbing out. Get back in quickly, he said, pushing. Take me to the city. Hurry, Jad. Get out of here. But Rackus only stared at him and would not move.
Oh, why? What's wrong, Simon? I don't understand. What about your party?
And then it was too late, because the loose sand all around them was stirring, and the red eyes were staring at them, and the mandibles were clacking. Rackus made a choking sound and moved to get back in his skimmer. But a pair of mandibles snapped shut about his ankle, and suddenly he was on his knees. The sand seemed to boil with subterranean activity.
Boil again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jad thrashed and cried terribly as they tore him apart. Cress could hardly bear to watch. After,
Ah! Oh,
after,
ow!
ow. After that, he did not try to escape again. When it was all over, he cleaned out what remained in his liquor cabinet and got extremely drunk. It would be the last time he would enjoy that luxury, he knew. The only alcohol remaining in the house was stored down in the wine cellar. Cress did not touch a bite of food the entire day, but he fell asleep feeling bloated, satiated at last, the awful hunger vanquished. His last thoughts before the nightmares took him were of whom he could ask out tomorrow. Morning was hot and dry. Cress opened his eyes to see the white Sand King on his dresser again. He shut them again quickly, hoping the dream would leave him. It did not, and he could not go back to sleep. Soon he found himself staring at the thing. He stared for almost 5 minutes before the strangeness of it dawned on him. The Sand King was not moving. The mobiles could be preternaturally still, to be sure. He had seen them wait and watch 1,000 times. But always there was some motion about them. The mandibles clacked, the legs twitched, the long fine antennae stirred and swayed, but the Sand King on the dresser was completely still. Cress rose, holding his breath, not daring to hope. Could it be dead? Could something have killed it? He walked across the room. The eyes were glassy and black. The creature seemed swollen, somehow as if it were soft and rotting inside, filling up with gas that pushed outward at the plates of white armor. Cress reached out a trembling hand and touched it. It was warm, hot even, and growing hotter, but it did not move. He pulled his hand back, and as he did, a segment of the Sand King's white exoskeleton fell away from it. The flesh beneath was the same color, but softer looking, swollen and feverish, and it almost seemed to throb. Cress backed away and ran to the door. 3 more white mobiles lay in his hall. They were all like the one in his bedroom. He ran down the stairs, jumping over Sand Kings. None of them moved. The house was full of them, all dead, dying, comatose, whatever. Cress did not care what was wrong with them, just so they could not move. He found 4 of them inside his skimmer. He picked them up one by one and threw them as far as he could. Damned monsters. He slid back in on the ruined half-eaten seats and then thumbed the start plate. Nothing happened. Cress tried again and again. Nothing. It was fair. It wasn't fair. This was his skimmer. It ought to start. Why wouldn't it lift? He didn't understand. Finally, he got out and checked, expecting the worst. He found it. The Sand Kings had torn apart his gravity grid. He was trapped. He was still trapped.
Just real quick, that one sentence, it wasn't fair.
Yeah.
That probably conveys this guy's character more than any other sentence because
look at everything you did, bro. You're going to say it wasn't fair.
Yeah, because remember we talked about the Great Divorce one time and you talked about the lizard right on the guy's shoulder.
Yep.
And remember that, I mean, most of the characters in that book complain about something's not fair or, I want my rights.
Right.
It's one of those constant things with damned people that they just, it's never enough. They're crying out as they are destroying everything.
Yeah, it's always somebody else's fault, and
right.
Your blessings are never good enough. You always want more. Oh, Ghost says, I imagine he would feel like Frankenstein watching his monster. There's definitely a good parallel there to Frankenstein. Sure.
Interesting because, my theory about Frankenstein, that the monster is the monster is the doctor.
Yep.
He dissociates. And in this, it's like the molting of the bugs is that's him like being reborn into this hive mind thing is what I assume.
Oh, yeah. And what are they molting into, dude? Like, whatever they're going to turn into, like, dude.
Yeah. Whatever it is, he wants a piece of it.
Yeah, dude. Jimmy, I'm Wigger Allen Poe, dude. This is your host, Wigger Allen Poe. These streets raised me, dog. We fixing to get spooky tonight. All right.
Edgar Allan Poe show.
There you go. Okay. All right. Where are we here? He was still trapped. Grimly, Cress marched back into the house. He went to his gallery and found the antique axe that had hung next to the throwing sword he had used on Kath Mullane. He set to work. The Sand Kings did not stir, even as he chopped them to pieces, but they splattered when he made the first cut. The bodies almost bursting. Inside was awful. Strange, half-formed organs, a viscous reddish ooze that looked almost like human blood, and the yellow ichor. Crest destroyed 20 of them before he realized the futility of what he was doing. The mobiles were nothing, really. Besides, there were so many of them. He could work for a day and night and still not kill them all. He had to go down into the wine cellar and use the axe on the maw. Resolute, he started down. He got within sight of the door and stopped. It was not a door anymore. The walls had been eaten away so that the hole was twice the size it had been and round. A pit, that was all. There was no sign that there had ever been a door nailed shut over that black abyss. A ghastly, choking, fetid odor seemed to come from below, and the walls were wet and bloody and covered with patches of white fungus. Yo, his basement became the maw.
Yeah.
The fucking maw is his basement.
Stranger Things upside down.
Right, dude. Oh, I love that visual, dude. That is so cool. All right.
That's a hive mind in that show, right?
Oh, and Stranger Things. I've only seen like 2 episodes of Stranger Things, so that's one I definitely got to check out because everybody tells me I would love it, but I've never sat down and watched it.
Season 4, they're like 43 years old.
Oh, really?
About to come out. Yeah, they're super old now.
Nice. Yeah. A ghastly, choking, fetid odor seemed to come from below, and the walls were wet and bloody and covered with patches of white fungus. And worse, it was breathing. Crest stood across the room and felt the warm wind wash over him as it exhaled, and he tried not to choke, and when the wind reversed direction, he fled. Back in the living room, he destroyed 3 more mobiles and collapsed. What was happening? He didn't understand. Then he remembered the only person who might understand. Crest went to his communicator again, stepping on a Sandking in his haste, and prayed fervently that the device still worked. When Jallowo answered, he broke down and told her everything. She let him talk without interruption, no expression save for a slight frown on her gaunt, pale face. When Crest had finished, she said only,
"I ought to leave you there."
Crest began to blubber. You can't help me, I'll pay.
"I ought to," Will repeated, "but I won't."
"Thank you," Crest said. "Oh, thank—"
"Quiet," said Will. "Listen to me. This is your own doing. People are Sandkings well, and they are courtly ritual warriors. You turned yours into something else with starvation and torture. You were their god. You made them what they are. That maw in your cellar is sick, still suffering from the wound you gave it. It is probably insane. Its behavior is unusual.
You have to get—" Oh, that's her, right?
You'll have to— Oh, I lost my place. You read it. Where'd I go?
I'm trying to— You have to get out of there quickly.
I'll scroll down. You have to— wait, hold on. You have to get out of there quickly. The mobiles are not dead, Crest. They are dormant. I told you the exoskeleton falls off when they grow larger. Normally, in fact, it falls off much earlier. I've never heard of Sandkings growing as large as yours while still in the insectoid stage. It is another result of crippling the white maw, I would say. That does not matter. What matters is the metamorphosis your Sandkings are now undergoing. As the maw grows, you see it gets progressively more intelligent. Its psionic powers strengthen, and its mind becomes more sophisticated, more ambitious. The armored mobiles are useful enough when the maw is tiny and only semi-sentient, but now it needs better servants, bodies with more capabilities. Do you understand? The mobiles are all going to give birth to a new breed of Sandking. I can't say exactly what it will look like. Each maw designs its own to fit its perceived needs and desires, but it will be biped with 4 arms and opposable thumbs. It will be able to construct and operate advanced machinery. The individual Sandkings will not be sentient, but the maw will be very sentient indeed.
Yo, are those her workers, dude? The ones that delivered the freaking— Yo, they were Sandkings, bro.
Hell yeah.
That is so awesome, dude. All right. That is so awesome.
Simon Crest was gaping at Woe's image on the view screen. "Your workers," he said with an effort. "The ones who came out here, who installed the tank." Jyla Woe managed a faint smile. "Shade," she said.
"Shade is a Sandking," Crest repeated numbly. "And you sold me a tank of Of infants? Ugh.
Do not be absurd, Woe said. A first-stage Sandking is more like a sperm than an infant. The wars temper and control them in nature. Only 1 in 100 reaches second stage. Only 1 in 1,000 achieves the third and final plateau and becomes like shade. Fuck, I lost my place. Adult Sand Kings are not sentimental about small maws. There are too many of them, and their mobiles are pests. She sighed. And all this talk wastes time. That white Sand King is going to wake into full sentience soon. It is not going to need you any longer, and it hates you, and it will be very hungry. The transformation is taxing. The maw must eat enormous amounts, both before and after, so you have to get out of here. Do you understand?
I can't, Cress said. My skimmer is destroyed and I can't get any of the others to start. I don't know how to reprogram them. Can you come out for me?
Yes, said Will. Shade and I will leave at once, but it is more than 200 kilometers from Asgard to you, and there is equipment we will need to deal with the deranged Sand King you created. You cannot wait there. You have 2 feet, biped. Walk. Go due east as near as you can determine, as quickly as you can. The land out there is pretty desolate. We can find you easily with an aerial search, and you'll be safely away from the Sand King. Do you understand?
Yes, said Simon. Yes, oh yes. They signed off, and he walked quickly towards the door. He was halfway there when he heard the noise, a sound halfway between a pop and a crack. One of the Sand Kings had split open. 4 tiny hands covered with pinkish yellow blood came out of the gap and began to push the dead skin aside. Cress began to run. Yo, dude.
Demon
That
seed.
is so messed up, dude. He had not counted on the heat. The hills were dry and rocky. Cress ran from the house as quickly as he could, ran until his ribs ached and his breath was coming in gasps. Then he walked, but as soon as he had recovered, he began to run again. For almost an hour he ran and walked beneath the fierce, hot sun. He sweated freely and wished that he had thought to bring some water. He watched the sky in hopes of seeing Woe and Shade. This is the last page, y'all. He was not made for this. It was too hot and too dry, and he was in no condition.
Oh,
But he
he's in
kept
the sand. He's in the desert.
Oh, yeah, he is. It was too hot and too dry, and he was in no condition. But he kept himself going with the memory of the way the maw had breathed, and the thought of the wriggling little things that by now were surely crawling all over his house. He hoped Woe and Shade would know how to deal with them. He had his own plans for Woe and Shade. It was all their fault, Cress had decided, and they would suffer for it. Lysandra was dead, but he knew others in her profession. He would have his revenge. He promised himself that 100 times as he struggled and sweated his way east. At least he hoped it was east. He was not that good at directions, and he wasn't certain which way he had run in his initial panic. But since then he had made an effort to bear due east, as Woe had suggested. When he had been running for several hours with no sign of rescue, Cress began to grow certain that he had gone wrong. When several more hours passed, he began to grow afraid. What if Woe and Shade could not find him? He would die out here. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. He was weak and frightened. His throat was raw for want of water. He couldn't keep going. The sun was sinking now, and he'd be completely lost in the dark. What was wrong? Had the Sand Kings eaten Woe and Shade? The fear was on him again, filling him, and with it a great thirst and a terrible hunger. But Cress kept going. He stumbled now when he tried to run, and twice he fell. The second time he scraped his hand on a rock, and it came away bloody. He sucked at it as he walked and worried about infection. The sun was on the horizon behind him. The ground grew a little cooler, for which Cress was grateful. He decided to walk until last light and settle in for the night. Surely he was far enough from the Sand Kings to be safe, and Woe and Shade would find him come morning. When he topped the next rise, he saw the outline of a house in front of him. It wasn't as big as his own house, but it was big enough. It was habitation, safety. Cress shouted and began to run towards it. Food and drink. He had to have nourishment. He could taste the meal now. He was aching with hunger. He ran down the hill towards the house, waving his arms and shouting to the inhabitants. The light was almost gone now, but he could still make out half a dozen children playing in the twilight. "Hey there!" he shouted. "Help! Help!" They came running towards him. Crest stopped suddenly. No, he said. Oh no. Oh no. He backpedaled, slipped on the sand, got up, and tried to run again. They caught him easily. They were ghastly little things with bulging eyes and dusky orange skin. He struggled, but it was useless. Small as they were, each of them had 4 arms, and Cress only had 2. They carried him towards the house. It was a sad, shabby house built of crumbling sand, but the door was quite large and dark, and it breathed. That was terrible, but it was not the thing that set Simon Crest to screaming. He screamed because of the others, the little orange children who came crawling out from the castle and watched impassively as he passed. All of them had his face. And that is Sandkings, yo.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yo, dude, that ending is so hardcore, bro.
That ending is sick, dude. That was good.
Right?
That was great.
Well, yeah. What can you even say about that, dude?
That was a good story, dude. That was a great short story.
I knew you would love it, and that's why I was like, dude, don't read of it. Don't look anything into it. I wanted to get, wanted you to get the full thing. I read it 13 years ago, but even till now, like, it left an impression. I just remember thinking that was awesome, and so that's why I was like, we got to read this.
Well, you know that it's going to end up with Nemesis, right? I mean, the Woe and Shade are Nemesis and Hubris, I suppose.
Yep.
And you know that, what it's like you said at the beginning, like, what he's doing. It seems like it's a little much, but the whole point of it is that he's too much. His character's too much. He's like, he overdoes everything but it's crazy how he evolves within the story. His character like has an arc, and it's weird because he both does and doesn't have this incredible arc.
And what's so genius about it is that the story evolves. Like we've been talking about this whole time. It goes from like a weird sci-fi Blade Runner into like this like action movie into this freaking desert survival story. It's like the story is evolving along with the character.
Also, a lot of the things about like when he goes away from the house, it's like this could be a play. I mean, it could all be in the house,
right?
But I think those elements are there to show that that's part of his. That's like he's struggling with himself and his will or his character to like he thinks he can escape this thing, but he can't escape himself. So his drinking is weird because it's a kind of an odd touch that he does this, and it's not just like that he needs oblivion or something, or he's kind of a wretch. It seems to be that he doesn't eat or drink anything except for things that will affect his. They control him.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like the quintessential Hunter Biden, like pampered rich boy, just seeking pleasure and oblivion, like you said.
Yeah, he's he kind of turns into Jack Torrance a little bit at the end because he got the axe. He's drinking the whole time. He sort of tears apart the house, I suppose. He's in a kind of labyrinth.
Yep.
Within the house, but it's not that though. It's totally different.
And it's so really, like poetically just that the orange ones are the ones he hated. And the ones he like oppressed because he's like, they're the runt of the litter. Screw them, and they all have his face. Like Ghost was saying here, sort of reflects the Frankenstein thing about.
He's like anything but ginger children.
Yeah, I hate those gingers. Booze and tendies, attend me. Yeah, dude. I wish Martin wrote more stories like this because like I don't want anything to do with Game of Thrones, but like this is epic. And then if you now go back after you've read this and watch the Beau Bridges one, like it really is lame how they had to change it because they didn't have the budget for this, and so they made it what they could. And it's an awesome episode, but it's like when you know the story, it's like, oh man, dude, like
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. I still can't believe that I have seen that episode in that show. And that I knew the story. That's pretty crazy. I only saw it because for like a couple of years I didn't have any internet or anything in this house. And I only had like the antenna TV, and it had that channel with Outer Limits.
Yeah.
So I saw every episode of that in X-Files like 100 times over.
I love the Outer Limits. The Outer Limits, as far as like TV anthology horror goes, isn't the best, but there's some like really great episodes, especially from the early seasons. So I'm a big Outer Limits fan for sure.
Well, I'm impressed. That was a great story, dude. And
hell yeah, man.
It's kind of I'm not easily impressed by short stories a lot.
Right.
And I mean, that was good.
I'm a short story like junkie, dude. I love this is my favorite kind of medium. Whether it's like the radio shows we do, whether it's TV anthologies like Twilight. So I just love I love stories in general, like we said in the beginning, and I think there's something really cool that short stories can do where they can present an idea and it doesn't overstay its welcome. And if they hit, like they hit so hard. There's a lot
Yeah,
of garbage
that's
out
true.
there, but the ones that hit really hard.
That's true. Some of the great works of literature are short story books. James Joyce, Dubliners,
Oh yeah.
short stories. The only great short story I can think of that comes to well, actually, no, the things they carried, that book by Tim O'Brien about Vietnam, that's kind of vignettes. But there's a short story called "Where Are You Going? Where Have You Been?" by Joyce Carol Oates. You
Okay.
read that one?
No.
You should read that. You would like it.
I'll write it down. Where are you coming?
Yeah,
Where you go?
yeah. Where are you going? Where have you been?
Okay. Where are you going? Where have you been? Got it.
Yeah, Joyce Carol Oates. I think you're probably the only person who doesn't know of this thing and then will read it and will totally get it the first time you read it.
Okay.
Because most people read this and they go like, "What the fuck?"
Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'll read it at work tomorrow because I'm always looking for stories and stuff like that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I not only was the story great, I knew the story was good, and so I knew this would make for a good episode. But like, I'm so happy you agreed to do it because I honestly didn't think you were gonna because it was sort of out of the blue, like, yo, let's do this today. But I wanted so badly for you to be here for this because you give such a great analysis for literature and stuff. So I'm just happy we were able to do this together. It's been too long since we've streamed, and I'm happy this was enjoyable. You know, like I said when you were in the bathroom, I know that this kind of stuff on YouTube isn't the most popular. Like out of a big group, like only a small group of them are going to enjoy this kind of thing, just like sitting around a campfire storytelling. But I personally love that, and so like I would like to do more of these shows, and I think it's a good format for bringing guests on and just having fun, dude.
Well, I love riffing,
Yeah.
and I love we love to hear like dudes sit around talking and shit.
Hmm.
So I like doing it, and I appreciate you having me on, bud. And of course, last minute, I'm the guy for that.
Absolutely. This is the Bazed Lit Analyzer, everybody. You've heard him here first. If you didn't know him, go subscribe over on YouTube to BAZED Bazed Lit Analyzer, and you will get a bunch of really high quality content that is actual like intelligent literature analysis. So his links
Appreciate
are
it,
in the
man.
description. Thank you again so much, and you will catch him. Are you still doing Boiler Room?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're
Dude, I
going.
feel so
So
bad.
I'm a little
I,
late.
I saw this was 15 pages. I'm like, this will be like a 40-minute read. It turned out into a 3.5 hour read.
Of
I'm
course.
so sorry.
No, it's good. It was fun. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very happy to come on here, and I really am impressed by that story. I love the language in it, and his like his word choice is very good in that.
Yeah.
It really was very good. I'm surprised. I didn't know what to expect, but because I don't know George R.R. Martin
Right.
either. All I know is that there's that show. Everyone tells me I would love that show.
Yeah.
Like everything about it, I would love, and I can't. I just don't.
No, I'm not interested in it. And but yeah, this story definitely makes me respect at least his chops.
Yeah.
Just the craft. So thank you so much, dude, and thank you everybody who has joined us for this. And if you like the show and you want to support, you can send in super chats, whether now or after the show is done. And until next time, Lily Walk signing off. Later out. Peace, y'all.
Peace.